Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? Let us know, as always, how the audio sounds. One thing I didn't think about having a guest on here is obviously the boom arm is going to be kind of in the shot, but I don't know. I was saying to Tony here before we came on.
Actually, very prominently in the shot.
Yeah, how it kind of, I don't know, when you watch like Howard Stern or like some radio broadcast live, there's always like a mic somewhere. So probably something to workshop. But yeah,
it's not usually right in the front
right
of everything else.
Yeah, there's probably an angle we could find. Well, no, that makes it worse, I think. Well, whatever. Yeah, if I put it down there and you rip one, it'll really, yeah. So let's see. We got
now the pressure's on.
Large Marge, Pudgy Pedal Pusher. Wow, that almost came out horribly. Rusty. Traveling Through, what's up, man? I just watched Traveling Through's latest video. He was just in Maine, in Arcadia, hiking and biking around.
Nice.
Which Pudgy's mentioning. And, yeah, Patrick and Blackball, who is Chris in Toronto. So.
What's up, guys? It's like I'm meeting you in person now, somehow.
Yeah, not just typing. So, Tony, I was trying to think about this earlier. Got to get that at least a little, like not right in my face. I was thinking we really only met like what, spring, summer this year? Because I think I probably knew you in passing from some Yeti stuff.
Define met. Yeah.
Yeah, like actually.
Well, yeah,
talking,
yeah. No, I feel like you were. I don't know. When I joined like Strava when I was first getting into cycling, all these random people just started following me, and I feel like we were following each other on Strava for like probably several years before I ever ran into. Which is, I don't think that's an uncommon thing.
No, I think we talked a little bit in some of the spring Yeti rides, right? Like kind of in passing or whatever. Yeah. And then you did the Akron had that where they were hosting people riding from Lock 3 down to the
right.
Farmers
Downtown
Market.
Akron Partnership. Yeah.
And at that point we knew who each other were and we had like said hello and stuff like that. But I went out and only like one other person came out on that or something?
Yeah, so not the most well advertised bike events, but yeah, you came to one where there was literally one other rider, and she was on like a beach cruiser. I remember that.
Yeah, she worked.
Actually, she
worked for FedEx.
Yes.
And
oh, good recall.
I think I was like, maybe you could tell me where my EF education cap is.
Yeah, that's right. You made a joke about your package not arriving yet, and she like went all out, like
she was like anti-FedEx,
explaining like yeah.
She's like, yeah, we are a bad company. That was like the gist of it. She was like, they're union over at UPS. All right, yeah, right? Isn't that what she was saying? Like, they're union over there.
Yeah,
they do a good job. She's like, we don't. Yeah, she's like, FedEx employees don't give enough. So it was that wasn't her quotes, but they were
right.
Like, that was the vibe.
We're just paraphrasing this poor.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's not a member on that channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, she actually had another funny thing. So I got connected with that whole thing through Dirty River. Like they went to Dirty River looking for people who could lead these rides, and they got a hold of me. And so I always wore my Dirty River shirt, and would bike shop stuff came up, would be like, oh, there's check this shop out, they'll help you. And she was looking for a new saddle or something, and she and I was like, oh yeah, check out Dirty River. And she's like, oh, I went there once, and she was like a bad. Bad taste in her mouth from Dirty River, yeah. And it was just because they charged her $20 to change a flat, like give her a new tube and change her,
So $20,
which total to save you the work of having to figure out how to do that for the first time by yourself. Like what a great deal. Whatever. So I was like, well, the only rider on this ride is not going to go spend any money at the shop I recommended.
$20 in DeVille. I get it, like, and I get even like when people get the $80 and $100 bills on like shitty bikes, but you gotta we're not supposed to. We have a rule: we don't cuss till after 10. I already broke it.
Oh, shoot. But are there kids in here?
No, it actually started because someone commented on if they could watch these live streams at work, and my response was up till about 10.
You should probably just be doing your work.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm trying to think of what you could be doing where you could. Well, I'm a photographer. I watch like Twitch and stuff while I'm working. So
like a security guard.
Yeah, he's got all his security.
You got your feet up on the.
Yeah. But then he's watching.
The heist is happening behind you.
Anyways, yeah. But I do get that, like with the watching people, especially in Dirty River's old location where you really couldn't get out of the way of like the customers when someone came in. You're like, do I duck behind the bike stand? But hearing people be like, oh yeah, $80, no thanks. And it's like your bike, the way your bike's set up, like Otis wouldn't say it like this, but it's like literally it's going to kill you.
Your bike is badly in need of $80. Yeah.
And how could you think that, like, I mean, you look at a place that has a roof and people working, like they got to pay the bills, like service has to cost something. Like there's employees, I don't know, but a budget bike person is hard to talk to.
You get them hooked enough on the biking part, and then eventually you can convince them to start spending money.
Yeah, and then they have. Everyone goes one to two ways.
We got this girl too early in that. Process.
A little later, she would own a fat bike, a gravel bike, 29er. Like,
she'd be sitting here talking about bottom bracket standards or whatever.
Let's see what else we got. Dylan in Columbus. Jay Dandy, what's up? Eric Jackson, yeah. Oh, there's a F that rule. I didn't know there. Did you know there was a lunar eclipse?
I did not. I can never see that kind of stuff from. I live close to downtown Akron.
Oh yeah.
I don't ever look up at the sky, so.
That sounds so sad.
Whatever's going on. Whatever's going on up there, I got no idea.
It sounds like that Men in Black scene where stars are pretty nice. Oh, I don't look at them anymore. So yeah, we went and had some beers over at Missing Falls and actually like got to know each other a little bit, and now we've done a number of group rides together, and you've come out on our Wednesday night ride and stuff like that. So, yeah, now know each other over this summer, got to know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
So, and the one thing I figured might as well talk about. So, and I was wondering too, I guess I'll start with how you guys came up with the idea. So, Dirty River has a ride every Sunday called the Yeti Rides, which are usually like kind of trying to explore some off-road stuff, but at like a pretty chill like pace, social ride pace, but getting into some fun terrain and stuff like that. And so you and your buddy Scott came up with an idea, and it was, and I guess I'll make a quick summary, then you tell me exactly what happened, but to do something on a different day that was a little more advanced or just farther away, or I guess.
Yeah, it didn't. Basically, that's it. It didn't really start as really having any association with Yeti Squad necessarily. It was mostly just that, I met Scott a few years ago through Yeti Squad. We both lived in Highland Square, so we were usually riding back together from getting beer after the rides and stuff, and we would go and do rides together here and there. And then we kind of had, near the, I always hate to say like the end of the pandemic, because
I know,
but the end of like the period where we were all kind of quarantining, full time. We kind of like reconnected and started riding again, and it, that thing of we're all in kind of the same universe of people riding in the same places, and people see the rides you're doing and they're like, oh, that looks like a cool ride, let me know, I'd love to do one of these. And so it's just like Scott and I like out riding together, and with no real reason to not be inviting other people along. So rather than just trying to decide, are we going to text these people or just open this up to our friends or whatever, we're like, well, let's just, we'll say how far we're going to go and how fast we're going to go, and whoever wants to show up can show up. And so we started posting them in the Yeti Squad Facebook group, and I think the first one we expected, probably 3 or 4 of our friends will come out and we'll ride. And we went out to Youngstown, checked out Noble Beast Brewery.
No, Modern Methods.
No, that's Warren. Youngstown is
oh yeah.
Wait,
Noble
Beast is it's Noble. It's very close to Noble Beast. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, we
get into the maps.
Right. It's shoot, why did I get that mixed up? But anyway, so like 14 people or something showed up, and we did another one out in Emlenton, PA. We did the Allegheny River Trail.
Oh, that's
super
right,
scenic.
Yeah, Funny Brad went on that one. And,
a bunch of people that would have been probably on the stream at some point were there, and so then we were like, well, we're people are going to keep coming to these. We'll just Scott came up with the name Yeti's on the Loose, and he asked Dirty River, like, oh, you okay with us using the name? And they offered to sort of sponsor the rides, and they gave us some gear, so we can kind of help people with repairs if the need arises. And so we've had, I think, as many as 18 come out at once. And they're always on a Saturday. We're going to try to keep doing them once a month as long as we can. Going to try to power through the winter months, and they're usually like 50 to 60 miles, but we're kind of dialing that back while it's cold out.
Colder weather.
And this Saturday is weirdly, for the weather being in like the 30s, it looks like it might be our biggest turnout we've had.
I was looking
people
now,
from all over
as
asking
of
about
today,
it.
they're saying 40s. So I saw like 28 low on Friday night, and then but it looks like during the day it's going to be up into the 40s. So I don't think it'll be too bad. Depending on what. Oh, Large said Noble Creature. And
Noble Creature, thank you. Yes,
Aaron said
Noble
Cask
Creature.
House. I don't know where she came up with that.
Noble. That's like a generic term for just any.
Aaron's just like throwing out random words.
Yeah. Noble Creature. Unfortunately, a lot of these places we end up not having food, and so Noble Creature was one of them. But
the one we did that too, because I think it was a few weeks before you guys went to Modern Methods in Warren. We went out there on the way to camp, but we went there and ate, but then we ordered food from a deli around the corner, and they had like a lot of breweries, when they have no food, they don't care if you bring food in, which is nice, but with a big group could be a pain in the ass, I'm sure.
Well, we went to Modern Methods, and we called them ahead, and we were like, hey, do you have food? And they were just like, no, you can bring whatever you want in. And we went to, it might have even been the same place. We went to like a kind of deli coffee shop type place around the corner.
Yeah, it wasn't like a coffee shop.
Sat there forever while everybody went through and ordered food. Rode back with the food on our bikes. We get to the brewery, and there's a food truck parked right in front of their front door. And it's like, you couldn't have just mentioned there's a food truck here. But No disrespect to modern Italian brewery. It was
Yeah,
good.
the beer was really good. The space was cool too.
Yeah, I took some home. It was that was our first casualty on the Yetis on the Loose rides happened there.
Oh, the wheel story?
Yeah, somebody left had to take their front wheel off of their Fargo to get it in the car, and I guess maybe had a beer or two too many and got home and no front wheel.
Didn't put the front wheel in.
And there's, I guess, somebody somewhere has security camera footage of a parking lot attendant picking the wheel up, examining it, and then throwing it into a dumpster.
Really?
So yeah. So there was no getting it back.
Just like, oh, not this thing.
Yeah, pretty pristine looking carbon wheel.
I'm surprised someone
such a
didn't
bummer.
turn it into like a drum for a Dave Grohl sculpture.
Oh yeah, it's on Dave Grohl Alley.
Dave Grohl Alley, and there's
yeah.
all drummer. It was we've talked about this on the stream before, but when we first rolled into there, it was me, Funny Brad, Aaron, and Large Marge, Ben. So we roll in, and I'm like, what is all this like drum stuff? And and they're like Dave Grohl Alley, and then I'm looking at the sculpture, and I'm like, oh, and like the big drumsticks are like 30-foot long drumsticks.
And
it didn't dawn on me.
I never even bothered to investigate. Like, I'm assuming he's like from there or has some connection to the area.
Yeah, so Funny Brad was telling me he was born there. He was like,
okay.
He was saying he thinks Warren claims Dave Grohl way more than Dave Grohl claims
Right.
Warren. Right.
Well, and it almost was just like, okay, I guess we're just at a Dave Grohl themed brewery for
Yeah.
whatever reason. Didn't really think about why that was all going on.
Oh man! So Micah asked if she has any, if Aaron has any like hot takes to share about you to get you in trouble.
Oh,
and
boy.
The reason he's saying that is because when I had Albert on, Aaron kept pointing out facts about their trip that affected his relationship with Chrissy, and just not like a crazy cheating mentality, but like when he like hung his panniers on the tree because he didn't want to deal with them anymore on this wild trail they were on. And Aaron's like, didn't Chrissy buy you those panniers?
You got nothing on me, Aaron.
Yeah, I don't think she does, right? Yeah.
Well, it'd be really weird if
Yeah,
she did, because I don't think we've really hung out that much.
Lanky cowboy in the house. Yeah. Evening gentleman and lady. That is very accurate. It's so funny. I've talked about this before, but YouTube lets you dive into any analytics you want. Like,
yeah.
Really like back end crazy stuff. Like, you could see when viewers like click away from a video, like, and everything. This channel.
I've never clicked away from that.
Yeah, you've never clicked away. This channel is like 99% dudes, like 1% women, and I'm like, well, if Aaron watches and like a video usually gets 300 views, I'm like, well, there's 0.25% of the women watching, or 0.33, whatever. So yeah.
People in the stream already asking for my wife's phone. Oh, that's Aaron asking for my wife's phone number. Yeah, no, not happening.
And Aaron, me and Aaron actually met your wife at.
Oh, that's
Hop House.
right. Yeah.
We patio out back, and you happened to walk in. It was I think it was like the same week we ended up riding together. It was like right after that.
Yeah, it was, and it was funny because we were there on Friday. Just the two of us. We ran into you guys, and Brad was with you.
Oh, that's right.
And then the next night, we were going out with a bunch of friends for a friend of ours' birthday. We went to Crave and had dinner. Mm-hmm. We went over to Acronym, and then we went back over to Hop House, and we go back through, and I see Otis and Kelly, and Brad is with them. It's like, did you ever leave? Have you been here for
all night?
Yeah.
What are they? Oh, Aaron's laughing at us. Yeah. Oh, we should show. There were a couple of drink photos, and we didn't talk about our.
I posted a behind-the-scenes drink photo. You can see the. We were talking about Tim being an influencer.
Yeah. So Large is drinking a Heavy Seas Dark Anchor, and then what we are sipping on now. I won't have to make this focus. Some Arche 3 Legends. So don't tell Kenny.
Whoops, my bad.
Kenny's rivals across the what would you call that?
Across the hallway.
It's that hallway. It's a hallway. Yeah, they're in the same building. Large said, "Tony is now funny, Tony."
Oh God! Shouldn't there have to be 2 Tonys for me to have a qualifier?
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think there is another Tony, is there?
There's my friend Tony, other Tony.
Oh,
I
that's
call
right.
him other Tony specifically so he can't wedge in on my
Tony.
my thing. Yeah.
You're Tony. Oh, new
Nick
subscriber.
Stainer subscribed to the channel.
Ooh, what is that? Why does that voice have a British accent?
Oh,
Oh, Kenny is here.
no,
Damn it.
Damn it. Tony brought these over.
Sorry. Kenny, I panicked. I went to this place across the street from Tim, and I didn't expect him to have this massive beer selection, and I clocked one I recognized out of the corner of my eye.
I've told people this was right when I started streaming.
And Tony.
Yeah, I lived here for like 2 years before I ever walked over there, because my like vibe on drive-throughs is, you
got it.
Bud Light, you
Yeah.
know, like thinking stuff like that. Then when I finally walked over there, they have this awesome craft beer selection, and I was like,
That's exactly how the corner store by me is. It's Borders Market in Highland Square. They have like a sign that misspells all of the things they do, that kind of place.
Yeah.
You go in there and there's like a line around the corner for lottery tickets, but then they have an awesome craft beer selection in the back.
I guess that happens more and more now, anyways. But
Yeah.
what is
Alcohol Way, that's good.
Alcohol Way?
They need to get a sign made.
Eric Jackson said jeans. Oh, Eric knows jeans. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my spot. I walk over there way too often. Bender Brad. Oh, that's a comment about Brad being in there the 2 nights in a row. I feel like I missed a comment that made that I did want to respond to. Maybe not. Oh, Blackball. Chris was taken off early. Says going out to a gig. Nice. See you later, Chris.
A gig. Music gig.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
9:20. Well, I don't know where these people are. They could be in any time
He's
zone.
in Toronto, so that
Okay.
same time zone, Eastern. Yeah. We were hoping to get together this fall, but the border's still all messed up. So, what did Micah say? Oh, Alcohol Way. Yeah, they're giving him credit for that. That deserves some credit.
That is good.
Erin's got her first piece of dirt.
Did somebody ask if I'm wearing an iWatch? No, I'm wearing a vintage Casio calculator watch.
Nice.
I have like a whole collection of these.
Oh, really?
Of Casios, yeah.
Too bad Pixel Wolf's not in here tonight. He would love that. He's the guy who designed my YouTube logo, like my face thing.
Oh, yeah.
But he posts tons of like vintage, like that slightly outdated tech. That's
Yeah.
like that perfect.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah, I
that
love 'em.
perfect like era. Oh, Erin wants to have a heckle party over at her house. Her other idea was to have a heckle party right here. She's like, "Can we sit here like a studio?"
Oh, God,
audience?"
that
I'm
sounds
like,
stressful.
Yeah, it's super distracting. yeah.
Don't let her do that, though. She'll probably get more subscribers and have like a more successful competing
Yeah,
stream.
yeah, I know. Yeah. Dylan thinks you sound like you're from Michigan. I don't know what a Michigan.
I mean,
are you a Youper?
I sound like I'm from Michigan. No, I'm from Northeast Ohio. But I mean, you can only get so much closer to Michigan than Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
No, I was born
guess
in
Northwest
in
Ohio
Canton.
would be closer.
Well,
to...
okay, fair. If you want to split hairs.
I mean, just saying.
He speaks mitten. That's good.
So you are born in Northeast Ohio?
Yeah. I was born in Canton, 30 minutes south of Akron.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm from north, so I'm from Parma Heights, but yeah, still same thing.
Yeah,
Another
yeah.
40-minute drive maybe.
He's one of those guys who couldn't stand to stay in his hometown. I had to fly 30 minutes north.
I posted a Facebook status probably 10 years ago that was everyone I know from Canton I've met in Akron.
Yeah.
It's very true. But Canton is really for over a decade has really picked up their downtown area. But then the last few years, now with how they do the big screen thing outdoors and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
down, in their arts district and everything is great.
It is actually really cool. I wish Akron had something kind of on that
Me
level.
too.
Really,
we have Summit
their
Arts
first
Space.
Friday is really
Yeah.
big.
That's what I used to go down for, and especially being a photographer, there's that gallery, which I'm drawing a blank, it's a name, but there's a photography gallery that has amazing works in it.
I know what you're talking about. It's like Second April or something like that. It's like right across from Buzzbin.
It's a couple blocks down and on the other side.
Oh,
of the
okay.
street from
So
Buzzman.
there's a couple over there. Yeah.
It has a big like an octopus coming out of the side.
Oh
over
yeah,
there.
yeah. It's there's a bar in
Joseph
there too.
Saxton.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have
the Imperial Room is at the bottom of that building. Yeah, cool bar.
They have yep. when I've been in there once too. So I've gone down with friends for
The building with the octopus coming out of it.
Yeah. Gone down there for the first Friday, or is it third Friday?
First Friday.
First Friday, yeah. Really cool. And the one time I went down with Kyle, my buddy, who's now the program director for Night Foundation in Akron, it was pouring rain. We were literally like jumping between tents that were set up and then hopping into bars and the galleries. And other people were doing the same thing. And it was like a dedicated
People show up for stuff down there. Yeah. Years ago, my band, we headlined, we played on the main stage at First Friday in Canton, which you think, you hear of that and you're like, oh, yeah, it's me, 80 people standing. It was like a big thing.
Probably biggest crowd ever.
Yeah.
Patrick said he had one of those Casio calculators when he was 13. I remember.
You messed up. You should have held on to it. What under the pink flamingo in your bassinet?
Tim showing off his new boom like it's the other guest. Yeah, I mean, flaunting that YouTube money right here.
I'm reading these comments from the bottom up, which is probably not the way to.
Yeah, you try and
I'm
find where you
piecing
left
this
off,
together as
but
yeah.
It's a hard thing to
Rick asked if I was on the group ride in June. I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm going to assume the answer is no.
Ride? I don't think you did come out. No.
No, that doesn't sound.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so we.
Wait, I remember you guys doing that. You went to the Rubber Bowl and stuff.
Yeah,
and, I
we
remember
even met up with the Yetis that day.
Yeah, I don't think I did Yeti that day either. So I think I must have been out of commission for that. But
Cleveland's local chapter Bike Cleveland's local chapter for Parma has a flamingo on their bike for their logo. I've never seen that.
No. Why are we talking about flamingos? Did I miss?
I always say something and then I can never remember what I said. Oh, Aaron, Aaron was wondering why the tags look different. So if someone tags you personally, it shows up highlighted. If someone tags someone that's not you, it only shows up highlighted to whoever you are. I can't figure out a way to say that right. So if Ben tags Aaron will see her name in yellow. I see what you're saying. Big boxed yellow.
Yeah. But nobody else will see that.
Nobody else sees it that way. They just see it the way.
Yeah.
Like it's normal text. So that is one thing too. If you guys ever really want to get my attention, and some people have already noticed this, if they tag me.
And you get a big. That's not fair. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not a very egalitarian way to manage the chat.
Oh, Parma. They're talking about. They're making fun of Parma.
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
Fun fact: I guess my grandpa had tried to buy almost all the land that became Parma Heights and parts of Parma, and Parma blew up in the 50s. And my grandma was really worried about looking at the lottery and speculation, and was don't do that. And
don't buy Parma.
They basically would have been millionaires.
Would have been
the area that developed next is the big suburb outside of Cleveland.
The king and queen of Parma.
Yeah. I'm sure someone's working on a documentary called The King and Queen of Parma right now.
and if not, they should get on
it. Stay out. This is a studio audience discussion. So I think we should talk about. Well, obviously we could ramble like we are, but we should also talk about the next Yetis on the Loose ride.
Oh, yeah. So, back to that.
Yeah.
So this Saturday, the 20th, if anyone is in the area or wants to come to the area, we're going to meet down at Lockport Brewery in Bolivar. And this is the first time we've done something like this. We're doing 2 meet times. If you want to ride a little longer, around 47 miles, we're going to kind of play that by ear. You show up at 10 a.m., park at the brewery. If you want to ride closer to 30 miles, show up at noon, and we'll be on our way back from riding up to Navarre, and we'll meet you. And that's kind of just because Yeti rides are usually 10 to 15 miles. Our rides are usually 50 to 60 miles, so there's this kind of big gulf in between, and we know some people get a little nervous at the longer distances, so we're trying to make sure more of those people can come. Unfortunately, the Facebook link might not work if you're not in the Yeti group. I need to fix that.
You need to be priced.
Yeah, but just request to join it, and you'll get approved.
All right.
And we can share the info even if you're not in the group. But yeah, so Scott Sheridan typically does all of the routes for these. He's just got a huge kind of list of destinations or routes he wants to do that usually combine a bike trail with some roads. It's usually a loop. We don't like to do out and backs if we can help it. This route I happen to do, so hopefully this one isn't a disaster. We're going down to the southern end of the towpath, which is I think one of the coolest parts.
I'd love it down there.
Yeah, it's like I've never been on a bike trail where you get more variation in like the terrain, just in a super short, distance. It's there's some single track stuff. There's some really rocky gravel.
Rick Urbanovsky super chatted $2. Erin Molnar. Banana.
So you just paid $2 to say that? That's incredible.
That's what,
to make the British robot lady.
Yeah, so that's how it started.
And to derail the whole conversation, which is worth it. Good.
Works, yeah. Totally always. So you were asking about the British accent, and that's what I accidentally did that. Like I set this all up, and I didn't know that how it would work out. It says like overlays and all that, and then someone's like, "How does this super chat work?" And did it, and like I was saying, like they like I was making bank the first night because everyone just
people wanted to activate
the British robot say something funny, Anyways,
you got to come up with a new accent to get that revenue back.
Yeah, I know. Maybe a Jamaican or something like interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm already picturing Jar Jar Binks. But, so, I was going to ask you, and you might have said it, and I might have been reading comments. Who's doing the 30 and who's doing? So is Scott doing one and you're doing the other?
So actually, we're the whole group will intercept the people doing the 30, which is going to make the people doing the longer ride have to do a little bit of retracing on a certain chunk of the route, which is whatever. But we'll basically just grab the people who are doing the second ride. So, it doesn't really matter. Like, the people that come for the shorter one will still get to see all the really cool stuff on the route, where the rest of us just want to get more miles in while it's nice enough outside. So, it should be fun. There's some really cool stuff to see out there. The Dover Dam. We'll actually get to stop, and if you're on the road, you just pass it. But if you're on the trail side, where you're technically off the towpath, it's like the Zor Valley Trail at that point.
Yeah, which will be part of the towpath.
Eventually, and then I really hope they don't smooth it out because it's really fun to ride right now.
But fix it.
It'll be better for everybody.
When's the last time you were down there? Because Dan told me they've done work down there.
So the section
kind of is the Ohio and Erie County Coalition.
So, gotcha. Yeah. The section like leaving Navarre going into Bolivar, they did really smooth out, which is kind of a bummer because it has some cool little dips and like
I love that. Yeah.
So I loved the gravel down there, but if it makes more people ride it, then that's ultimately better for the trail. But the section, as far as I know, the southernmost section still has not had any work done, so it should still be nice and
the way.
And
did you ever notice too? There's two tiers. So like when you're going towards the dam, you could kind of turn towards that farmer's field, and there's actually. The Zor Valley Trail was actually there's like
there's like a lower, and I always thought one was just like an access road, so I never really messed with that. But
the first time we ever did it, it was me and Lars decided to see the southern section of the towpath because we never had, and so 4th of July we did like a bike packing trip where we stayed at that place outside Massillon, River's Edge campground, and then we rode all the way to Dover and then over to a campground that was like 10 miles off the towpath. When we were coming back the second day, we're like, why does everything look different? It didn't make sense. I looked at the Strava and I realized we didn't.
You missed the.
So we missed it on that turn to the lower level on the way back and stayed up higher. So there's actually like a loop down there. But
maybe we can check that out on Saturday. But there's also a dry dam in Bolivar. You can like ride over. It's like at a road that goes out over the It's not like on the trail at all. You have to be looking for it. Cool. So we're gonna check that out. But
I was looking at that and I actually pulled this up here. Wait, I can't remember to show it so they can see it. So this is the 30-mile route, right?
That's pretty much it.
Wait, where's the full screen option? Why is that not popping up?
I don't know. I always actually don't use Strava for this kind of stuff because their route plotting always.
Once I've done a ride, there's usually like a full.
Yeah, if you're just looking at a route someone made, it might be tough.
No way to full screen that. That's an oversight.
Yeah.
Either way, but yeah. So the meeting point is also the ending point, right? That's the brewery right out there. So Bolivar proper is right here. So that must be the dry dam you're talking about.
So the dry dam is that big straight line right here, actually.
Oh.
It's kind of a climb to get up to it, but then super flat. Yeah, there you go.
I got used to not doing that because before I hardwired it, it would take forever to make that work. But
Yeah, the first time we rode out there, we saw Bolivar Dam, and we rode over it, and we're like, where's all the water? And
it's all just farm fields now.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's you can tell it's like there's like a big ridge there you're riding along.
Yeah.
So it's doing something. But yeah, and then we're gonna loop over and check out the new where they extended the towpath out there, so there's no more. You don't have to ride on that road anymore.
Yeah, there was a horrible part. So wait, coming. Oh, that's what you're
Right through there. Yeah, it's actually you go through like, and I think some farmer must have cooperated with them because there's a paved trail that runs right through the
when you
cornfield
do it in the
there.
summer, and the cornfields are
awesome.
And he rotates it with soy, so some years it's soy and it doesn't have that.
I've only
effect.
seen it with corn, but
yeah, when it's tall corn and you come through there and you come into town that way, it is so cool.
It's awesome. Yeah,
it's
it's
really
awesome.
cool. That's just a really cool.
Not going to be
visual
quite
effect.
as exhilarating in the winter, but.
Wait, that is the.
So we're taking the dam.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pointing as if anybody can see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then you go down. We're gonna go down whatever this road is, and then right there is where that paved trail picks up.
Oh yeah,
And then here's
the cut,
the new towpath extension over there.
Oh, that's right.
It's just a little like bridge basically, but
yeah, it keeps you off a busy road.
For
It's really
years,
great,
that was
yeah.
like one of the biggest problems with that whole section of the trail was people that didn't want to ride on the road had to stop there. But
Did you heard that? Oh, so Funny Brad and Kenny and a couple other people camped outside Bolivar. There's a guy who has a hip camp, like right before you go through that farmer's field.
oh, I didn't know that.
And so he's the guy who, part of the property he donated so they could like make that happen. His parents didn't want it to happen because actually the towpath is on his property, and that's how they're doing that bypass.
Okay, yeah.
And we camped there, and it just turns out there's that train bridge right there, and then like that road. The reason it sucked to ride on is because trucks use it.
Yeah, so it's like the noisiest place you could.
It's the
ever
worst
camp.
night of camping you could imagine, and they had already like planned on doing this, so we're like, why tell them now? They're gonna find out why, like make them nervous about something they're about to do, and then like after we talked to them, we're like, notice anything about the other night?
How much sleep did you?
I met him in Massillon. That the next day I had to work that night, so I couldn't ride down. So I met him and was riding back, and then at some point, like, hey, do you guys? And they're like, dude, we didn't sleep at all. They're all like, their faces are drawn.
And there's like a super cheap hotel like a mile from there they stay at.
So.
And then if you go down this way, we're gonna go through Fort Lawrence.
Yeah, Fort Lawrence, which is the only Revolutionary fort in Ohio. For you history nerds.
And then this is the section of the trail in the middle here that is like where it gets, not quite single track, but there's a lot more kind of like
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's really
flowy,
fun.
yeah.
And you're gonna go over that old iron bridge,
Yep.
right? Oh, here's the
which
dam.
is
that
well,
the dam?
no, that's so the dam. So this is just the little. They put a bike lane there. There's a road. There's an old bridge over here. None of this looks like anything from the satellite footage, but and then this part down here is the really
that's the
gravelly.
rough
This is
stuff,
where you had to tell people like do not bring road bikes this time. Like,
this is like unpaved. I guess he said they did some clearing out work. Me and Ben, the first time we went down there, I think, I was on the yellow bike, so that has 35s or 38s on it. But I remember it was.
I did it on 32s, and it was bad, but it was
damp,
doable.
But you could do it, but if it had rained a bunch.
There's a lot of rocks and puddles,
there's
and then there's the dam, which is actually really cool because when you're coming on this side, you can ride out onto part of the dam, not all the way out across the middle, but.
I think the headline. Or your banner image.
My banner. That's the bike we're gonna look at out on the dam. Yeah. From a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was. So I personally already know like kind of the route out. I was also very interested in the route back because those will all be Wanderer miles for me.
Yeah.
So this is
all new to me too, which maybe is not the best idea for a group ride. I'm
yeah. So the towpath actually ends here. They say it ends in New Philadelphia and Dover, and it doesn't. It ends right there.
Right there.
I've ridden obviously beyond there a number of times. Me and Marge have, and I've gone solo. But they're actually never going to get the right of way. It's all reverted to private owners. So where it's going to go is following this old railroad bed.
Yep.
Eventually.
And it's actually if you go back down here. So the first time I went out there with other Tony, we rode up this road, just kind of taking the path of least resistance, and it's actually just like a monster climb.
It's huge.
And we rode out from Ernie's
climb.
in Massillon. Our thing was like, we're gonna ride from Ernie's in Massillon to the Ernie's in New Philly, and then back. It's like 72, 74, something like miles, and Yeah, that hill was just a killer right at the halfway point, and then we get to Ernie's, and he's like, "Oh, if you just would have turned right there, it's completely flat."
There is still a hill the other way.
Yeah, but
just
it's
not
nothing like that. But yeah, it's a cool part of the trail. And then that is actually gonna be a bit of a climb there on the return route coming back up that road.
Flat section.
It's all backcountry road, but like once you get up here, there's like a 300-foot climb in a pretty short space. So well, there you go.
Yeah, let's make that.
So it's one of those things. We never know who's going to show up to these. If we'll kind of wait for them at the top. It's not. We're not going to drop anybody. But there's usually the one we did in Emlenton. There was a massive gravel climb on that at like mile 6 or something. That everyone made it up. It was no big deal. But
370 meters. This is set on meters. So that is an actual.
Is that the elevation or the gain? I don't think that's the. I think if you were to switch it to feet, I think it's only like a 300-foot climb. But
wait.
Like I'm talking gain from like there to there.
Oh, that's a 267. That's a
yeah.
Right.
So it's not that bad, but we'll see.
You
how
have
it
to
goes.
be the one who set this on meters, because my Strava's set on.
Maybe. See,
Imperial.
this is why I don't use Strava for drop putting.
So are these country roads?
That's
then?
just like a very remote, hopefully low traffic country road
it's
coming
gonna be
back.
a good descent right there.
Yeah,
Where was
cool
that?
little downhill at at kilometer 35, whatever that is. Someone in the comments do a conversion for us.
Yeah.
Do you ever say YouTube guy stuff on these? Do you ever say
You could
like
YouTube
sound
guy.
off in the comments, like that kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, smash that like button.
Smash that or I guess they're already subscribed if they're on here. But.
Let's take a break and from our route to see what.
Oh yeah, there's a million
ridiculousness
comments
has
in here.
been going. I saw the whole 2-meet thing, which is totally worth ignoring.
Oh, your audio was low that whole time, apparently.
Oh, because I'm off access.
You've got
the shotgun
There we
mic. That's
go.
why I need a broadcast or some kind of. How come every ride looks like Florida? Because Florida is a penis and you see penises everywhere. That penis isn't cussing, Jay Dandy.
Keeping his Strava in metric. Actually, recently had to start like forcing myself to say Strava. I've always said Strava.
Strava.
Maybe that's because I sound like I'm from Michigan or
Yeah,
whatever.
it
But
must be the way
but
Michigan.
Brad just caught me so off guard once, and just gave me this complex over it. Now I can't stop. It was a ride we did out in PA on the Pine Creek Rail Trail. We stayed overnight in I think like Wellsboro or something, and we were at this bar the night before the ride started. And there was like their homecoming, and they had all these fireworks going on, and the building across from us had one of those like old fire escapes that you can like pull down, and whoever had climbed down had left it there. And so Brad and I climbed up it to go on the roof of this building, and then we climbed up on another building from there, and we're like standing there taking.
Afraid of heights, Brad?
Is he afraid of heights?
Oh yeah.
Why are you calling him funny, Brad? Why aren't you calling him afraid of heights, Brad? That's a way.
He's like we went on a building with him, and he was terrified. I thought I was gonna have to call the fire department to get him down. Yeah,
we'd had a couple beers at this point, so.
Yeah.
And we're taking pictures of these amazing fireworks over this like gorgeous old 200-year-old church. I guess it can't be 200 years old. And the
sounds about right.
And while these fireworks are happening, and we're standing up this building, he turns to me and he says, "So why do you call it Strava?" it's like he picked the most
that's the
moment that would most impress that hang up on me. So now every time I'm about to refer to it, I'm like, say Strava.
Yeah.
So thanks, Brad.
Hey, maybe it worked because distractions. You can still focus on.
But anyway, yeah, we're coming back up through this road.
Wait, Lanky was saying Camp Tuscazor. Oh yeah, there's single track down there.
Oh, that's right.
He made a video about that, and I've never been there. It's probably going to be.
They're right in here, actually. No, it's like right in the middle of what we're looking at now, and they are. I did watch a YouTube video of those trails, and they look kind of. They are like official trails, like their signage and stuff, and like they're rated, but it looked pretty tough.
It's like a boys. Is it a? No, wait.
There is a Boy Scout camp out there.
Yeah.
I think it's like across the highway from here, but yeah. So I don't know if anybody wants to take a little detour through the mountain bike trails.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Speaking of dams, Michael, Was the damn Horseshoe Lake flown when you did the pools? Oh, that's, yeah, Mike could answer that. So then it'll dovetail back with the, is that Taupe? No, that's...
We're back on the road here, and then that instead of taking the turn right here onto the towpath, we're going to get onto this road. And the reason we're doing that is if you follow that road, which is the bottom line you're seeing right now.
Oh, the bottom, okay.
That is going to put us across the old Azor Bridge, which is a cool old...
That's the Iron Truss?
Closed to vehicle traffic bridge.
Oh.
And that's going up this way now. Yeah, and then this little curve to the right is where we're... Yeah, that's the bridge right there.
Oh, nice. Oh, so that's not the...
So we're going to go under it, and then we're going to go over it. Without,
Yeah.
Because if you're just going under it, you can get straight onto the bridge, but you got to hike your bike up a staircase.
Is that the orange? The one that's painted like reddish orange?
No, that's the one that's down that we already looked
Oh,
at.
that's
So we're
the-
going to see two cool old bridges on
That's
this.
the one over here.
Yeah.
All right.
Or, yeah, it's down further.
No,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, now I just got to know for my own. Because you kind of got, you have to go on the road and it's over here.
Yep, it's right off the road. Yeah. So we'll see two old bridges.
Do you know that bridge is actually, that spot is not its original location?
They moved
saved
the
it
bridge?
And moved it.
No, I didn't know
Yeah, like for like historical,
Wow.
because if you look at like old Station Road Bridge, like the old 82 bridge up in Brecksville. Have you ever gone across that one on the
Yeah.
And the huge bridges overhead. It's just those kind of bridges are kind of like, those are the, not predecessor, what would become comes after. So after covered bridges, they switched to the Iron Truss Bridge, where you didn't need to cover it to protect the roadway anymore. So in the valley and all around, Iron Truss bridges became...
Yeah, and that one has those, like, or it had until recently, the, like, wooden bricks on the one in Brecksville. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They dismantled and sent it out to get restored. Yeah.
Yeah, you're watching Bridge Talk now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's two bridges, and then we're coming into Zor. Zor's a cool town. It's
Oh wait, is
looking
this Zor
old.
back?
Right there is Zor. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had never really spent any significant time there, and then I stopped to go. What is their tavern? They have a good. Is it just a tavern?
Do they have a tavern? I've actually never
Yeah.
looked at that. That'd be worth checking out because I've never stopped in Zor for.
Ohio New York Canalway did a road rally, and that was like the food stop, and all the food was from there. Yeah, so they do have one good spot in town.
Well, Zor is also cool if you're on Wanderer because you can, 10 minutes of riding will get you 100%.
I'd fill out every single street. Wanderer.
Sorry,
Yeah,
did I mispronounce that too? I guess.
We all do this to each other because if you actually look at the website name, there's no vowels after the A, so we're like, Wanderer. Yeah.
Wanderer.
Lanky's out. All right, see you, Lanky.
See ya.
Yeah, there's this new thing where I haven't figured out if I can make an overlay for it, but channel members each month are able to like highlight a message.
Okay. And this is what Traveling Through has decided to...
White Castle fries only come in one size. Yeah. There might be references that we've totally missed that make total sense.
Oh, someone says they're riding in Lakewood for Cranksgiving this Saturday.
Oh,
yeah. We did plan this poorly. There's a couple other bike events going on in the area, but
I've always talked about this like idea, and I think it's very Akron, but it's probably Midwest and like Rust Belt and Northeast Ohio in general. Like there can only ever be one of anything.
Sure, yeah.
And it's like I remember when Albert opened the coffee shop, this side, but behind the boom arm. But and then it's like when someone's like, oh, we should. Like this person talked about opening a coffee shop. It's like, oh, we already have one. And it's
There's
like,
a coffee shop.
there could be more than one. Like, it used to just be the mentality around here of like, oh, there's already a Mexican place. Why would you need it? Yeah. But yeah, anyways.
Well, now there are 3 bike events on Saturday.
Yeah,
well, at least I'm
that's
sure there are more, but the RAR bike packing trip is happening that weekend too. So.
Oh, that's what the Beastie Boys said, is what Traveling Through must be. So the plan then is to end up back in Bolivar, right?
Yes, and we're just back.
We're on this
We're just
side.
going through Zor. We're gonna
through Zor.
Yeah, cut through the roads there, back road, kind of
Residential.
right out to the brewery. And
Nice.
sometimes on these rides, the brewery is at the halfway point, but then we find that doesn't make for the best second half ride experience for a lot of people. So starting and ending there is.
It's a great spot. Their food's good. I've been down there to this location twice. They have an old location, their original location.
It's right across
over
the
here.
It's like it's really close. I'm not sure. Or actually, wait, I think it's this building right here.
Oh, you're right. It is.
And it's I don't know why they.
I think they went to bigger production space and a full kitchen.
And they do still own that other building. There's like a sign on the door that redirects you. Like they're doing something there. I don't know if it's an event space or if they.
They do I think they do weekend hours there.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and then there's big outdoors, which probably won't be we won't need on Saturday, but there is big outdoor space there too. But yeah, so I called Aaron earlier today, and I'd been so Snacks, one of our buddies, he was riding with us last night. And he has been talking about leaving at 6 o'clock.
I saw his,
So it's about
more power to him.
Yeah. So from here, in the falls, it's about 50 miles, a little less than 50. So about a 4-hour ride at a reasonable pace to get down to where you guys are starting. So Snacks was he's in Fairlawn.
He's in Fairlawn, yeah.
Yeah. So he was talking about leaving and getting there for the 10. And then I was talking to Aaron about it. I'm like, would you be interested in doing this ride? And I'm like, to do the noon ride, we'd have to leave here at 8, and she said she was in. So I think we're gonna...
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we're gonna roll out of here in Cuyahoga Falls at 8 o'clock and meet up with you guys for the noon ride, do the 30-mile loop, have some beers, eat some food,
and then ride back.
Yeah. So it'd be
we planned this route because we thought nobody would want to ride more than 50 miles, and here multiple people are going to be riding 100 miles.
Because
round trip.
Summit Perry's doing it too.
He said he's going to do the noon. Yeah, so that'll be cool. And, Scott has all kinds of cool ideas for future rides we're going to do. We're going to go do one up in Sandusky, all along that, peninsula, whatever that peninsula is out there.
Oh, yeah. Aaron rode into downtown Sandusky before. It's a cool town. I've always gone up there to go to Cedar Point, and you never think about Sandusky at all. And there's a great brewery restaurant right there in downtown.
Yeah, so we're going to, and I don't know any of the spots up there, but we're going to check that out at some point. But, yeah, if anybody's in the, within a couple hours of Akron, probably tops for now, we're... has any suggestions for cool places to ride for something like this, we'll I'm sure eventually be looking for ideas as we get into the 2022 rides.
Oh, Mike asked him my thoughts on Dropbox. I hate Dropbox with a passion. he knows that'll rile me up.
Mike getting political.
Cream cheeses changes every winter. So Pathless Pedal. Do you watch Pathless Pedal?
Oh yeah. I just saw he had one on chain waxing. Yeah.
And Rick asked me. He was like, "What are you going to talk about tonight? Chain waxing?" Give me shit. But I actually put that on earlier, and I fell right asleep. And nothing against Russ. I just we were out late riding last night, and Kenny may or may not have given us all weed cookies. So
he may not have.
Oh, he said, "Tony, what are your thoughts regarding Dropbox?"
Oh. Well, now that I know better, I'm going to remain agnostic on Dropbox. But I do use Google Drive for the record. Google. You use any sensible system they've updated so people could figure out how to get the stuff that they need, right? Micah uses Dropbox, and we do some work too. Dropbox implies you got to put the stuff in there. You don't necessarily need to get it out.
Yeah,
later.
Exactly. Yeah, it should be called Lockbox because nobody else can get it out.
Cream cheese. I remember reading a blog post years ago from a guy who used leftover bacon grease on his chain, and he insisted that it worked.
I've heard. Well, the one thing that GCN used to talk about, if you're out traveling and your chain gets squeaky and you can't find anything, olive oil. If you're at a restaurant,
guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Do you need a drink?
Yeah, I could use a drink. When's this pedal break happening?
At 10.
How many?
Do you want to do it now?
I gotta sit here for 7 more minutes and.
No, we could do it now because I need to grab a beer and everything.
Let's do it now. Early break.
Yeah, we'll do a 9:50 break and then we'll let all hell break loose. I just want to take a quick moment during this break to thank our channel members. Their financial support really does make it possible to do this many live streams and produce this many videos. So thanks a lot. If you're interested in joining, we could drop a link on the screen in the chat right now that you could check out and follow that link and join the channel and get some special perks too. Anyways, thanks to everybody else too for tuning in. I really enjoyed doing this. Check out the merch store and also drop a like on this video. Thanks, every little bit helps. We will be back in a couple minutes.
I wanna tune a boat. Give me tune a boat. I wanna tune a boat.
this. All right. I remember to turn our voices back on. Yeah.
You don't make nicknames for a man while he's in
Indisposed?
in the toilet. I don't know.
Yeah.
While he's using Tim's toilet that has a hammer sitting on the tank for some reason.
Yeah, seeing a man about a horse is what it's been. Now everyone wants to cuss.
It's 9:56.
Tony is Canadian, so after the pedal break. Should we talk about your bike?
Yeah, I lugged it all the way over here, so we might
Yeah.
as well. That's ostensibly what the stream is about, right?
Yeah, let's do it. I guess I could have repositioned this whole idea during the pedal trip, but
Oh, so the wide angle camera is different than the. Oh, I see. You wouldn't want the wide angle wall.
yeah, it's too. Well, I didn't realize about that.
Calibrate the. I'm gonna move my beer before.
I also didn't think about the idea that the boom arm, being able to mic you talking about your bike, will completely block the view of your bike as well.
Just hammering the stuff out in real time.
So I will turn this and out. Any questions from the chat, I'll
Okay.
feed you. But so, I guess just start with the basics, like with your frame and everything.
Yeah. So this is a 1992 DiamondBack Override frame, which I've only ever seen one other DiamondBack Override in the wild, and I got this frame on Craigslist. Well, I got the whole bike on Craigslist, but we'll get to that. I guess 6 or 7 years ago is kind of when I got into cycling, and this is my main bike. It's been my main bike basically as long as I've had it, and my cycling experience for most of my life was a couple times a year. Me and some friends would go and we'd meet at Ernie's in Massillon on the towpath. We'd rent bikes, we'd ride up to Canal Fulton, get food, ride back. So 16 miles, and you could spend a day doing that. And when I moved to Akron, when it was oh, the towpath was not that far from my house. Somebody come over here and we'll ride. And when I going through downtown Akron, when you realize this is the same trail in this urban setting that is in going through the middle of the woods in Massillon, and it runs that's what got me hooked on cycling. And so without knowing anything about bikes, I immediately went out looking for one on Craigslist, and I had done enough research to know how to avoid buying a Walmart bike, but that was basically it. I knew some brand names, came across this bike. I emailed the lady who was selling it. I didn't even know how to size a bike. I was like, "How tall are you?" And she says, which is a weird thing to just email a lady. By the way, never email a lady. That is your first point of contact. But so she was 5'6", and I'm 5'6", so I said it's got to fit me. So bought the bike, got home. I didn't even have a track pump or anything. Couldn't inflate the tires. Rode out down to the towpath. Tried to ride back up Silver Street, which is the dog hill going down. It's
super steep.
Yeah, and if your first time on a bike outside of the towpath, I rode a mile, and then I threw up in somebody's bush coming back. And so that didn't deter me, luckily, from getting into cycling. But I think everybody does, once I started going on the internet and looking at YouTube, I got really into GCN. That's kind of the first, the easiest cycling content there is to find. And so I've got this weird flat bar, kind of pretty upright. I wouldn't call it a hybrid, but flat bar sort of 90s mountain bike. And I'm watching all these videos of these guys riding these super lightweight, fast road bikes, and I'm like, I want a road bike. So at the time, I was playing in a band, and I was an assistant manager part-time at a laser tag arena. So I was not looking to spend a bunch of money on a bike. So the cheapest possible conversion I could do for this bike to make it a road bike was I got one of those little quill stem, not even an adapter, just an actual, really short quill stem. Got some really compact drop road handlebars. And this bike was originally, had a triple up front and was 7-speed with kind of entry level, maybe a step up from entry level Shimano group set, mountain bike group set. And I didn't want to replace the whole drivetrain. I didn't know anything about working on bikes, but Microshift made a 3x7, road shifter you could buy, and I bought that. assembled it myself, learned how to cable the bike, kind of, and that was my bike for several years. And actually, just since I'm sitting here talking about it, I'll throw a picture in the Discord of what the bike looked like then.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize you had gone road bike with it first.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because like I only got into cycling like this is like I said like what 6 or 7 years ago, but at the time like it was so different than it is now. I had never heard the word gravel bike ever.
Yeah.
The first
That's a joke. I talked about how I thought I invented the gravel bike. I mean, you slowly keep changing stuff to make it more capable. And
so here's a picture of the setup I had at the time. It's in the bike pics, but I put super skinny tires on this. I had 28s. Eventually, I think I went to 32s. And that is not, as it turns out, the ideal setup for riding around Akron. So I did start getting wider and wider on the tires. This originally had like knobby 38s on it. But yeah, I mean, I was like a guy I used to work with. I remember we were talking about a ride I was going to be doing, and he was like, "Oh, are you taking your gravel bike?" And I was like, "My gravel bike?" And he's like, "Yeah, the purple bike." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that is my gravel bike." So, after a couple years of riding, getting introduced to like Dirty River and the whole crew that we ride with and going on those kind of off-road routes, I wanted to redo this bike again. And so winter before last, I think, I completely overhauled this. The frame is the only original piece now. I got rid of the triple, went to 9-speed, which is the widest I could fit on the wheel set I happen to have that I could fit in here. Replaced the original wheels. These are a lot lighter. Went to 1x. I know that's your favorite.
the Devil's Drivetrain.
The Devil's Drivetrain. And I'm mostly a convert. I think if I had an 11-speed setup, with narrower jumps between cogs, it wouldn't be as rough. So there was some adjusting there, but
did you have to space that to get 9?
No, I did not. I did not have to cold set the frame at all. This wheel just fit right into the dropouts with the 9-speed cassette on, and it worked fine.
I've never had a problem with 9-speed either. It might be like a little tight, but
yeah, and I don't know enough about like rear axle spacing. I've never gotten super. I've never done a super deep dive into that to know like at what point you can just assume going from X speed to X speed it's not going to work. But it
steel bends.
Exactly. Yeah, my other bike was a super. You've seen pictures of it. The one with the basket, the Concorde.
Yeah.
Super old 5-speed bike that Dirty River just built some new wheels for and went 7-speed. And the first time I went to take that rear wheel out to clean the bike, getting it back in, it was like I did have to like it's like
you pull on it.
yeah. But so for this rebuild I did, the most recent version of this bike, I went with I got some new bars. So these are the Easton EA70 they're gravel bars. They're aluminum, got a little bit of a flare to them. They're not super wide. I think I might have liked to have gone a little wider. The only thing about this bike that I don't like in its current form is this headset situation is a nightmare. I'm like super close to the mic. Hopefully I'm not like blowing people's ears out.
Not what you're right. Yeah.
So you can probably see here that I didn't really. I'm using a quill stem adapter to get the threadless headset on there, but I could only get it in so far into this really short head tube. So I put spacers here that I don't really need. Like this part could just be exposed. It just gets super skinny so it looks really weird. The proper solution here would just be to use an actual quill stem, and it looks like trash with the threaded headset on there. But the problem with the quill stems is the only one that I know of, and I would love if sound off in the comments if you know of a solution for this. I know Velo Orange makes a wider diameter clamp for the 31.8 millimeter handlebars, but I can't find one that's short enough. This frame's a tiny bit too big for me, I think, so I always ride shorter stems. I just kind of like how they handle anyway. So that's what I'm stuck with for now there, but otherwise, Tektro Cantilever brakes. These are the CR720 cyclocross brakes. they work fine. I might eventually look at upgrading to like Paul's or something. And then the most interesting thing about this bike, I think, is this is a mullet drivetrain, which is road shifters in the front and mountain bike derailleur in the back. So if anyone's ever spent any time reading around on like bikepacking.com or anything, there's all kinds of stuff you can read about the different types of mullet drivetrains and the hacks you sometimes have to do to get them to work. Usually they're based on 10 or 11 speed, or I guess a lot of times 12 speed drivetrains. This is 9 speed, so what I'm doing is pairing Shimano Sora shifters, 9 speed with a Dior mountain bike derailleur. This is the RDM592, and there might be a couple different models of derailleurs that would work with this, but I had to do a ton of research on like stuff I just didn't know anything about, like cable pull and all this kind of stuff to make sure this would work. This seemed to be the version of this that other people had tried and had success with. There's no barrel adjuster out here, so I'm running one inline up front, but it doesn't shift perfectly, but I've gotten it as dialed in as you know, any Sora group set probably shifts as well as this does, even if you use the parts you're supposed to. I tried it out with the Wolf Tooth Road Link for a while, and it worked, but the shifting wasn't great, and I would sometimes drop the chain, so I eventually ditched that, and I got a longer B screw to kind of pull the upper pulley wheel here away from the bottom of the cassette, and that's worked great. I've taken this on tons of really rough stuff, never dropped the chain, and so that's what I'm running. And we've got some with these Matrix Aurora wheels. I don't know anything about these wheels. I took these off of my Le Monde road bike, which is a great bike, but you know, those super skinny tires and roads in Akron, I just never ride it. So that's what I'm running right now, and I've got 40 millimeter tires on here. These are Goodyear Transit Tours. They also make a Goodyear Transit Speed, which is a lighter casing, kind of faster version of this tire. I've always run like touring tires. I just find that they're super bomb proof. I never get flats with them. I'm running tubes here because of these, you know, can't run tubeless with these wheels. I might, next time I have to replace these, look at like a Gravel King or something like that instead, because I am running those on my other bike and I really like them. But so I think that's the whole bike. I think we talked through every piece of it.
Yeah, let's sit down and well, I realized I can't talk because I can't hear me, so we'll just like sit down and talk about the comments.
Oh, I'm already seeing the first thing I saw when I looked down was just someone said fucking Shimano. What time is it? It's 10:09.
Yeah.
In the clear.
Well, they're wrong because Shimano is the superior. Everyone knows I'm a Shimano guy, and they all do not. We got Pudgy. He's well, you know, I'm not the one by guy either. Let's get this way over here.
These comments are probably gonna give me embarrass me. All the. Tim, I invented the piano key necktie. Oh wait, we're like, how can I scroll up in the chat? We're so far gone. Someone's talking about the laser tag arena.
Oh no, is that what you said? You were working at a laser tag arena?
Yeah, I was an assistant manager at a laser tag arena for 5 years, during and shortly after college.
Yeah. And then they said, "Oh, we're the one out in Montrose."
So same company, Laser Quest, but I worked at the one in Canton. I worked up. They'd send me up to the one in Montrose every now and then, but.
When that first opened, yeah, we were definitely in there.
Yeah. Actually, my band, we recorded our drums for our album in there. Like when I would close at night, we would load in all the drums and the recording gear. We'd go into the arena, turn all the lights off, just use like, you know, lamps to get the hum to go away, and we recorded drums.
Well, Gary never liked Diamondback, so. Rusty said he was way drunker at this point when he was on. He could barely operate his phone. I think that's you were actually posting in the Discord.
Oh yeah, this is like a whole multimedia. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. The other picture I was. Oh, that's the bridge. Oh, someone found in there, but yeah. So there's the triple crankset version of this bike, Yeah, and I think when I took this picture, I was running 32s by this point, so weren't super skinny tires,
But you had gotten like, oh, I need more comfort
yeah,
out on the road.
yeah. And I will say, while we're looking at this, I cannot say enough good things about the micro shift stuff. Like those things, I never had a misshift.
I have those
Super reliable.
and I haven't finished. But my French bike, second from the end, there is because that I wanted to keep the front ring because they look so cool, and so the only one who made drifters that are seven speed, seven speed
that's
or
what those
micro
are.
shift.
Yeah.
And I like the two that yours have the two different paddles. So
Yeah.
it's like almost like campy in a way, but
Yeah, like
they're-
like campy SRAM like mashup sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I kind of liked it because you didn't get any shifts while braking or anything, and it's kind of clunky feeling, but it worked.
Hey,
Super cheap.
Rusty thinks Shimano 2x is the worst thing ever, and it's actually the best shifting group stuff ever. So you're right in the way that you're 180 degrees wrong.
Pudgy says Sora runs fine if you set it up right, but it's not made for 1x. That I can vouch for that. It's definitely not made for 1x.
I think Pudgy, don't you have Sora on your Journeyman? I think he's always been fine on that. Mullet party in the back.
I mean, micro shift's definitely not as nice feeling as the name brands, but they're getting out there more. Like they actually make a lot of 9-speed stuff. One option is, this is actually going to be really sound embarrassing, but so they make Advent as their 9-speed group set for 1x.
Yeah.
And it's actually a 9-speed clutch derailleur, which would have been way better than what I'm running here because I do get chain slap. But the reason I didn't buy it is because your left lever has no cable coming out the side of it because it's 1x, and your right one has the cable coming out, like on the old school, like coming out of the side.
Yeah.
And I was like, that would drive me nuts to look down and see like one.
Only the one.
It's like
yeah,
asymmetrical.
Yeah, here's 9. Yeah.
Yeah, So instead, I spent like more money and a shitload of time making this work just so it looked
Didn't
cleaner.
have the one.
Yeah.
So Dylan said analog cycles might have something stem based, and yeah, they have a 0mm, a straight up stem.
Oh.
Have you seen this?
No.
And so like, I found out about him. I don't know if same. Oh, Dylan's not. No, yeah, it was YouTube. So Pathless Pedal interviewed the analog cycles guy, and he has like this. It's like an old sugar shack. Like his bike shop is in like total destination. You're not just gonna wander across it. But they do make some cool stuff on their own. And like, he was asking him like, does it ruin the handling? He was like, surprisingly, it feels all right. So yeah,
I said I like short stems. I didn't mean like no stem,
yeah.
but I might.
Yeah.
I'll try anything.
Yes, but so like Dylan was saying, it might be worth looking into analog cycles. They might have something quill really short.
I'll check that out.
Surly also makes. Is it Surly? Because I was Velo Orange. I was ordering a very upright stem for that bike, my Trek, to get the Surly corner bars a little closer to me, and they make like one that's almost like 45 degrees. But they also have that curved quill stem.
I've seen that.
That might. Well, that's a two.
The
Does
problem
that
with
go into quill?
the problem with a lot of them is that actually I don't know, that might go like over top of a. I'm not really sure how those work, but the problem with a lot of them is they'll go up, and that makes them shorter because you lose some of the reach in the angle.
Yeah.
But then I don't want them to be up. Like I want that's the kind of drop I need. So it's just hard to find
Something that's short stem without. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the old setup. So the one that's on the screen. Well, in the picture here that I shared in the Discord. That is an Origin 8 stem, quill stem, and it has those handlebars that I was running are the old road bike clamp diameter is, like 26 point or 25 point something. So they're just narrower handlebars. So that worked there. It doesn't work with the gravel bars, but.
I was trying to think if I have a cool stem you could use, but I think all mine are long because they came off all like French racing style bikes.
They're you're definitely not getting I think that's like 60 millimeters or something.
Yeah. It's funny how everything has gone 1x, and like I still like. It's funny in my YouTube videos. There's still people like when I post certain things about some of the stuff I have, I was still like. Triples, man. Triples have like the gear range you need. Like
what? I've actually never like I've ridden a lot of bikes that are 2x, like when I travel for work or something, and I've got to rent a bike somewhere. But I've never owned a 2x bike. I've only ever have 1x or triples. And like even my Le Mans is Sugino triple up front and 9-speed in the back. And I don't know. I mean, it does have the gear range. I never use like the granny gear. Like it's just weight. Unless you're climbing like a wall, you don't need it. And then I almost never use the massive, top gear. But
I was, like I said, when I borrowed Otis's War Road, Salsa War Road, I was impressed that the one by didn't annoy me as much as I thought it would. Like I thought I was going to be like, I don't have the right cadence, I don't have the right gear range. Like with modern like rear cassettes and the way you could get like so much more, it isn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I thought I would like be spinning out all the time, missing the 50 up front, and I really didn't that much.
Yeah, I miss the big ring when I'm descending, and then I've actually found, so riding solo, it's really easy to adjust to one by. You just go, you pedal at whatever cadence you can pedal at. But when you're in a group ride, that's where like being able to dial in your exact cadence is like helps a little more. But
yeah, so my old mountain bike that has a triple on it, but the big ring is still too small, and that's what got me into road bikes. It's like I'm like, I can't ride this thing as fast. All my friends feel like they're going so much faster than me, and that got me into road bikes. But yeah, the bike I have in the trainer that has a triple Ultegra, and then that vintage Trek is the original group set from this bike. Okay. So it's 2007 9-speed 105 Shimano.
Oh look, we're focusing on the boom arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody can see this, but there's a bike literally right
like
I'm
here,
touching a bike right
yeah.
now. It's amazing that it's completely off camera.
But the triple on a bike like that is so perfect because I ride that as like, it's 32s on there. I'll ride it as a fast road bike, but then I'll have it completely loaded down for touring. And so if we're climbing a big hill and I have it loaded down with panniers, I have that triple on the inside that all of a sudden it's just got that range to do everything.
I'm not mad at triples for sure.
Yeah.
And it actually makes riding a one by bike like this kind of feel like you feel stupid because like my little, the one you've seen in the Discord before, the black bike with the basket up front and the flap with all the vintage, friction shifters, and the one I like pick up groceries in on a flat road, put that in the big ring. You could put down like 30 miles an hour, and this bike could not do that.
Yeah.
But
it's definitely all about what you're trying to do. And so when we joke about the Devil's Drivetrain, which is a hilarious joke because I'm like, I said to Kenny one night, I'm like, if God intended for bikes just to have one ring up front, he would have created them that way. But that is how they were created. Everything was a single speed. But Kenny just, instead of like thinking historically, just straight up looked at me and goes, "Oh, so you're saying I'm riding the Devil's Drivetrain?"
So really, the triple should be the Devil's Drive because it's like decadent and
it's
excessive
way over
and
the top, Well, the guy who founded the Tour de France, he wouldn't let anyone ride anything but a single speed. Like it all had to be single speed. And then they eased up the rules and they started flip flopping the hub. So you had like I think an 11 and a 16.
Yeah.
When you're going to climb up the mountain, you stopped, pulled your wheel out,
flip it around. Yeah. Which makes the quick release actually the more revolutionary.
Which is campy.
Yeah.
Tulio Campanola is huge.
What is going on? Why is everyone talking about
swagging?
Yeah.
Oh, Gary said good old 80s purple.
Oh yeah, the color scheme on this. I'm like, I get sad looking at it because I beat the shit out of this frame over the years. It was in really great condition when I got it, but you can see there's like some surface rust and some rub marks from the bags taking it on tours, and the decals are all rubbing off. So I don't know. I think this might have to be this bike's final iteration. Just gonna be what it is, and I might build a new bike next year, but a custom bike.
Yeah. It's funny because Otis talks about. I was talking about a bike company I really like. He's like, "Oh, you're finally going to invest in an expensive bike?" I'm like, "No, I just like this."
I just like it.
Yeah. I would like to, at some point, do so everything is right and everything always works and have that bike. But at the same time, I love doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, the ethos of this bike was what's the least amount of money I can spend. And really, at the end of the day, it's funny because I've rebuilt this twice, so it's like I have a decent gravel bike. I mean, it keeps up with people we ride with that have way nicer bikes. But it's like I spent how much upgrading it twice. Could I have just bought a nice bike?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would I have had as much fun doing that? Probably also, yeah. But
Also, yes.
instead I did this, so this is my bike now. But actually, I'm going to share a picture in the Discord again real quick that is a guy on Reddit. I posted this bike like years ago, and the guy was like, oh, I have this exact bike. And he posted a picture of it, and he did like a kind of classier looking gravel touring rebuild of it. So it's in there if you want to check that out. But so these frames, and you know, someone brought up that like the 80s color scheme. The obvious like reference point here is like, you know, Hard Rocks and rock hoppers, like the old school specialized mountain bikes that everybody loves to rebuild and turn into you know, gravel rigs. But
out at Nutmeg, like, it was totally hot. Like, I mean, like, so there were like people, tons of Rivendales, tons of crust.
Oh, I can only imagine.
More than I've ever seen in my life. But
I mean, I've only ever seen one crust, and it's Aaron's.
Yeah, but the vintage bike conversion thing, like the rock hopper or stump jumper,
rock hopper, and then hard rock is the top of the line.
So they had done exactly what you had done.
Yeah.
Like they had, and me and Brad were cracking up, and like we kind of felt bad, like making fun of this person, but like it was this woman who had like it was like the nice one. It was like a stump jumper or whatever with like a full on like White Industries gravel conversion.
Yeah.
And she said something like, I wish Funny Brad was in the chat right now because he'd remind me, like, something like, oh, I just came here with this old bike and I didn't know it'd be accepted. And we're just like,
come on.
It was, and we're like, that is the bike right now. Like, the hottest bike of the moment. And we're just like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and like, like, I don't know this person. So again, maybe she built it up all herself and like did everything. But at the same time, this looks like someone like perfected every hot item, and like
she has my dream version of this bike.
Yeah. And again, nothing wrong with having the bike. Because we were looking at it like that's cool. Yeah. But like to do it like, oh, what, this whole thing?
That's she probably
this whole thing. Like,
she probably tracked that White Industries crank down on you know, she's probably has a QBP account or whatever. She's like sniping on to find the well, yeah, and I mean, I love that people reuse those old frames. And I don't know, I can't remember. I know I said I got this on Craigslist. It was $40 like for the whole bike, and actually, I bet like with the way cycling trends are going, like in a few more years, the original setup of this bike with like the flat bars, and then like that's gonna be the cool. Like,
yeah, I know.
And I would have spent you know how much money to make it this
and
instead.
It is a chromoly frame.
It is, yeah. Actually, you should try lift that. It's especially after this rebuild. Yeah. It's not any heavier than any other steel bike our friends ride that they would have bought you know last year or whatever. It's light enough.
It makes me wish I had my original truck that got stolen from Kent because it was the same kind of bike that would have been perfect. Yeah. This is something I forgot to ask you. It won't show up well in the GoPro, but I saw on the fork, are these riv nuts?
Yeah. So again, weird like
fork mounts?
In 1992, they were just making frames without knowing that they were going to be, you know, perfect for the kind of riding people were going to be. That was going to be cool today. But yeah, so I've never. I did try to fit a basket onto this bike, and the handlebars I have right now are too narrow for how small the frame is, so it interferes with the levers. But I might look at doing like some kind of a like low profile like front rack or something at some point there. Yeah. When I toured with this, I just I used the rivets there and then a zip tie to put bottle cages on the fork, and that was so I could do like a frame bag. So it's surprisingly functional.
So you could probably do like Kenny did with like the rod and earring setup, right? Because the rod and earring racks are really
I was just asking him about that he was on the Yeti ride the other day, and it's like it gets the bag super low and out, you know, far enough away from the frame that I think that might work for me. But I don't know. I have to, you know, the cantilever brakes are always a toss up. But
because they usually come out from the.
No one wishes Funny Brad was in the chat. Damn.
Wow.
Tim speaking in cursive.
We were at a brewery in Syracuse, New York, called Speaking in Cursive, and we're like, that's a great name for a place. But
there's a.
Speaking of rubbing off, are you still in here, Rusty?
I did a ride with Scott and John Duarte. Also lives in West Akron, so we do a lot of rides together. But we did a ride out, went out to like through Willoughby and you know the Holden Arboretum, that area, and there's a tavern out there called Just One More Tavern. which we mid ride on a super hot like July day or June day or something, had like 3 or 4 beers at, and then went and so that's always our speaking in cursive is just one more.
If Tim doesn't have swag, give Tony the boom mic.
They don't want this thing back. You messed up.
Yeah, I think this is one of the. I mean, like this is. I love the idea too. Is like I was saying, and it's a joke when I say like I invented the gravel bike. I'd love to use that phrase because I think it's the same thing. We all
invented the gravel bike by accident.
Came to it. Like I didn't. So my Raleigh that I bought off Otis is a 2014, but I only bought it from like 3 years ago or whatever. But when we met him and he kept talking about gravel, like I had never heard of it, but we had friends who were showing me and Large Marge like the route what we all ride now, the Route 8 gravel, the downtown gravel, and so then I'm like, yeah, same thing as you said. I like started watching GCN. I'm like, oh, my bike needs to be lighter and faster, and it's like because that's the thing you come to when you start trying to learn about bikes on YouTube. They're the big guys.
Which is it is a good resource, but it's just...
And same thing, like, some of it does make total sense. There's a lot of good information there. If you never, like, why would I know about, like, trying to be efficient or fast or anything like that? I'm glad I have that knowledge, but I don't, it's not the way I want to ride. I don't want to ride a road bike in spandex, which I have no problem with, but that's not me. And so, then, like, we start finding this stuff. Large was riding a single speed on, like, 20-something millimeter.
Oh, yeah, famously, yeah.
And I was only riding my old bike. I still had rock shocks on that and everything that were way too beat up. And I'm like, so the roads to get to the gravel, I'm like wasting all this energy. Then I got into vintage bikes and the one on the end, that Viscount. So I'm like bouncing around on the crazy gravel out there in Kenmore and Ben single speeding through it. I'm like,
which is still fun.
Yeah, we're like, this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah. But it's just because we're seeing new stuff we didn't know about. And then slowly it started working towards like, I need wider tires. So I got the Peugeot and put 32s on it, which was built as an aero road
which
bike.
I was looking, I'm impressed at some of the tire clearance situations you got going on over there.
Especially
on the yellow bike. What are those?
Yeah, those are 38. So one of the things
nobody can see. This is terrible content. We're just like talking about something like off.
You can't see. Yeah, I always do this. Yeah. But the thing is, one of the great things is when bikes were made for the American market, they would put the 27.5 rims on.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Yeah, 27. So if you switch to 700, it pulls. It's tiny, but it pulls the wheels that much closer from the chainstays. So you grab that extra clearance. So even if the bike was like could have maximized that like a 28, you could put 32s. Like my truck, same thing. That was like. It would never have fitted those, but it was made for 27s because it's an American bike. And so since I converted to 700, I'm actually able to get the 32s on there. So
gotcha.
And I think I could actually put my fenders on there too. That's something.
Well, and 32s isn't. I mean, we talk like now, like tires can get so wide that it's like but 32s, you can pretty much do anything on 32s.
You can.
I mean, when I had 32s on this thing, I went out to Hampton. Like I've done a bunch of the dumb stuff that we do around here. It's you can.
It's funny looking at my Raleigh now with 42s and how narrow those look compared to what most of my friends are riding.
Yeah. When I first put these on, the 40s, I felt like I was riding a fat bike, looking down at the, I got so lucky with this frame because, again, like, literally I knew so little. I was basically Googling, like, are purple bikes fast? Like, that's all I had no information. And, like, everything just worked out. Like, the fact that it had cantilever brakes, I could have ended up with a hybrid that had, like, just that lent itself to doing drop bar conversion. It just worked out that this frame, like, still manages to be.
It has fender mounts.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't think I could ever get rid of this bike because it's just like now I have this, like, sentimental attachment. It's like, this is the bike that I rode 1 mile and then threw up in a bush. And then now I've ridden like a century on it, and I've done all kinds of the 90s, probably late 80s, through late 90s mountain bike hybrid, whatever you want to call them, frames. Or actually, I if you can pull it up, I found just pull up like Google, look 1992 DiamondBack catalog. You can see the original configuration of this bike, and it's got all. This was actually super helpful because it had all the specs I didn't know about, and
Hit it wrong.
If you guys think Tim is speaking in cursive, he is absolutely
typing in cursive.
Typing in cursive.
Go images, do you think?
No, go back to all real quick. Wait, type catalog and after the,
Yeah.
and then see.
Do you always, if you like vintage stuff, this is a USB keyboard, but I got it because it looks like my old IBM.
Oh yeah, that looks like having flashbacks
there we
to
go.
my Gateway PC
Yeah.
running Windows 95.
Oh, look at, yeah.
Yeah, this is sharing, right? You're there seeing.
Yeah,
seeing-
there-
Okay,
it's
yeah. So click. Oh shoot, this looks different than
First
No.
previous.
Go back up real quick. Just click right. No, go down. Sorry. Click on that link that said download document in original format.
Yeah.
That might be it. Yeah, here we go. So if you scroll down, keep going. It's like probably halfway down the document. You'll see it's the override.
Oh, yeah, override. We just got to see that.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of other cool stuff in here actually. Like they were making some.
Oh, there it is. I'm glad you went.
That's the
you're lucky you went-
overdrive.
Oh,
but look at that
overdrive.
anyway, because it's still worth. I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's still
it.
worth. You can see like what
Oh,
the.
they put bull horns on it?
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff in this catalog. If you.
So that's a look how clean that front triple chain ring like set looks. Like that is so weird. Wow, I'm really look how long that stem is.
Yeah, it's crazy. There
it is.
And
So
honestly,
this is it. This is the stock off the shelf version.
yeah.
of that.
So in what like a few weeks, this bike is going to be 30 years old. And when I bought it from this lady I found on Craigslist out in Medina, it looked exactly like that. Like she took great care of it, or it got tuned up.
look how
often.
narrow those. I really did take this frame as like the hardtail mountain bike, like full on hard. Like what do you call it when it's all rigid? You know.
Yeah, well,
So-
really the key difference is like if that would have been the case, it probably would have had 26-inch wheels.
Yeah.
And they set this up
So
with
it's
700C.
700.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it worked out. Like you can see how long. I mean, not that it's crazy long, but look at that stem now, and then
Yeah.
like the stem I'm running, like that was the
Yeah.
big factor that I really had to change to make the bike work. But
This is a really interesting. Like even reading the marketing, as serious about working out as you are, the override spells fitness, cycling performance on the road or on the trail. This is a flat bar gravel bike.
yeah. Well, that's what I think. I think the reason
You
that
said
stuff
it
works
doesn't-
is because like they were trying to hit just like kind of a casual consumer market. Like
Yeah.
they were really designing bikes that are like serious cyclists can use
Yeah,
for
and
the
I guess-
same reason now.
guess
It would really be a bummer if I could only get a hold of the step through
Yeah.
version.
And I mean, I know some people, like you said, like a hybrid, but I don't like. I kind of don't look at this as a hybrid. It looks way more capable. But yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's what the word hybrid came from.
Man, they're just getting nasty. You gotta mute this chat after 10 p.m. Just disable this feature. We all outgrow GCN. They stay
yeah.
25 years old forever.
Exactly. Yeah. But I've said if you like racing, they have killed it with their racing channel. But oh, Chuckles, what's up, man? He's an OG, and he always tells me stay focused because I can't stay focused. What are they talking about? Hard? Did I say full on hard?
You need to hire a moderator.
I do, but the problem is it's Large Margin Pudgy who are the ones who are.
Oh
acting
boy.
up. I do have moderators and. Step through triples are dope. Well, I mean, just think about it. Like, they have the polyvalent now with the step through model, and people are like going apeshit over it, right?
Drop bar, step through, but
Yeah.
several of those out now.
Well, when me and Aaron were in, I always hate like saying this because it sounds so pretentious, but we went to France, and like, but the mixed, like, and I always thought it was pronounced mixty, but Russell Pathless pedaled, so MIXTE, mixty bikes, they're not women's bikes, but if you looked at, so they're step throughs, they're city bikes, but they could be really capable, and like in America, we've always called those. I'm glad you said step throughs because it's
Yeah.
always been women's bikes.
Right.
But they're not. They're step throughs, and they were like really popular in Europe because when you're wearing your nice clothes, it's way easier not to throw your leg.
Yeah, not to rip your
over
pants.
a top tube.
Yeah.
And so there are all these beautiful vintage step throughs, like versions of like my Peugeot and everything that I'd never seen before, because no one in the U.S. like it's a chick bike.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
like,
we
so
associate them with like cheap department store like
Yeah.
versions of but they're
it's like when we were like people were riding like beautiful vintage step through bikes all over Paris, because it made total sense. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
total sense to get from A to B.
Maybe that'll be the next big like alt cycling trend is like custom frame bags designed to fit into the step through. It's not even a triangle; it's a rectangle, I guess.
Yeah, that's the problem with step throughs. They're just, to me, like for like what I want to do with frame bags and all that stuff, they're not that practical. But
I just want to acknowledge Pudgy's "I am the click commander" reference. I don't know if he,
what is that from? I don't know it.
I think he's making a Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back reference.
I must just full on hardtail.
Holy Jesus.
You can't. This crowd, it's tough. There's only about 10 of them, but they're,
I need to get another drink since
Gonna have one
it's
more?
only 10:30. Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah,
One
good.
more.
Might as
One
well.
more. We're gonna have...
I didn't mean to limit you. Yeah, yeah, I'm down for another.
Okay. Do you want anything in particular?
Dealer's choice. Is that what they say?
Okay.
Is that what the kids say?
No, but okay.
They usually type it every time I say that's what the kids say. They're like, the kids don't say that. We're doing good. This is good content, right? This is what the kids want to see. The demographic.
You can pick. Do you want the headhunter or the Great Lakes?
I'll try the Great Lakes.
Okay.
Might as well mix it up. Yeah, we haven't talked about what we were drinking. This other one was the they had a wet hopped version of Headhunter. Headhunter is one of the best Northeast Ohio beers, most classic IPAs that's
definitely.
out there,
Absolutely.
and it was good. It does have like the Headhunter flavor with a extra element, but
Great Lakes. Oh, I'm just gonna fry the computer by trying to show you the beer.
I like that. Remembering you. I mean, everyone does that with when you open another. Like you're used to like now I can swing it around.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
There we go.
for years Commodore Perry was there, like
Yeah,
the Great Lakes IPA, but I like this one better.
Commodore Perry and Burning River are their two like flagships. Kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
originally, obviously, they're a lager, but
They have some really intense Imperial IPAs too.
I always like going up to their actual brewery because they still do in their original brewery. Have you ever gone there on West 25th? Their old Irish bar.
Yeah, kind of. So
Kind of. What does that mean?
so I've only been there
The
once.
look on your face already, I'm like, there's a story here.
I've only been there once, and it was years ago. But so my wife was there with a friend of ours, and I was at a work event, like a social thing, and I was supposed to go meet them there after I was done. And we were at Lizardville, like the whiskey.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had like a lot of whiskey, and I was, I don't know how I got to Great Lakes, but I was trying to get inside, and somehow instead of going through the front door, I managed to like go through some like back door, and then get like accidentally I clung on to like a tour that was happening. And then I was like, shit, I'm on a tour. I need to be in the restaurant part. So I tried to leave the tour. And I just like walked through a door. And then I was in their like event center where there was this like event going on. And like they have all these like shrimp and all these hors d'oeuvres out. And I'm like texting my wife. I'm like, I'm in this room with all this shrimp. I don't think this is where I'm doing. So I've only been there once and I messed up bad. So I'd love to go check it out sometime.
So they do have their original bar in the original like 9-barrel, whatever it is, system.
Yeah.
And so they always have like 3 or 4 beers that they are not bottling or canning, that they're just playing with there. And sometimes then, so if you go there and you'll like drink one of these beers, you'll be like, that's great. And then sometimes it'll become like one of the ones
Which
that
this
is
did,
being
yeah.
canned. Yeah.
This was the IPA that like their staff created.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it first came out, the imagery on all the cans and the boxes, it was like it looked very like Soviet. It was like it had like it was the worker beer, so it had like guys with like I don't know how you make beer. You're churning or you're brewing or something.
You churn the beer.
You do something with a big I don't know.
Yeah, you get the.
We're just giving these guys more fodder to be nasty.
Yeah,
we should
you
stop.
get the alcohol cows, and then you.
Yeah,
churn
exactly. So it was this like
some people make butter, other people make beer out of it. Yeah, that's how it happens. That's just brewing.
It was this like Workers of the World Unite type beer, and then they've softened it, and now it has a little bird, and it's
now it's a little Lake
very
Erie
nice. Yeah,
type.
but it is still a great IPA.
Rusty said he used to work there. I forgot that. He's told me that.
Oh
but,
wow! Doing
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Lake Erie Monster is my shit. Yeah. That's a great beer
I
too.
stay away from. So what's the other one? They have Lake Erie Monster and Chill Wave.
Chill Wave is the early spring one.
They're
double.
like, they do one in the fall,
Those
one in
yeah.
the spring, and both of those will make you
Those are.
break up with your girlfriend.
Yeah, you don't want to
and
mess
yell
with
at
that.
everyone you love. Yeah. So.
I like this IPA because it's only 6.5%.
Oh, Pudgy said he likes Haze Craft, which is now they.
Oh,
find-
that's a great hazy,
They were
yeah.
such early movers, and then like there was a number of years, like about 5 years, it's like starting 2 years ago, where they were like so far behind every.
Well, they were like the last brewery to have a hazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even in the brew pub, I'm like, this is where you guys need to be jumping on the trends, because when I first started going up to Great Lakes, if I would have a shoot in Cleveland, I'm like, because Great Lakes it's a destination now.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
goes there. So to sit at the original bar is like cool. But if you go there at like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, you can go sit at the bar, talk to the like bartender in their old Irish pub.
Yeah. Accidentally sneaking into a tour is the way to do it.
Yeah, or that, or just drink a bunch of whiskey and show up and
Show up there as drunk as you can get, and it'll be a good time.
Everyone has their own way to do things. Yeah. But they have good food and everything like that.
Yeah.
But they had like one of the first Belgian IPAs, which is like a style that has never taken off. So it's like you kind of
IPA.
so you take like a German wit and then you hop it basically.
Okay.
So it has that like really good like what you get from like those German yeasts and those like early spring
but like
beers.
dry.
Yeah, then you build it up to like a hoppy. So the finish is hoppy and bitter, but it like has that like those really nice.
Does anybody make one of these that's like popular?
Raging Bitch by Flying Dog is
Okay,
probably the
yeah.
one that's year round. That is still they adhere to the style. Which
I didn't know
like.
that. I've seen that like everywhere. I didn't know
Yeah,
that. That's
a
what that
Belgian
was.
IPA.
Yeah.
So you take like, it's like taking a wit or a wheat beer. You could do it either way. I mean, like one they'd be slightly different, but the hops overpower the nuances of the yeast. But the yeast still gives it that kind of characteristic
Okay.
of that, and I love it. And they had one, and then and I would go up there just to like drink that beer, and then they bottled it for like 2 years, and then it just completely disappeared.
Weird.
Yeah. So they
I would love to try. Sound off in the comments if you've ever tried a Belgian IPA.
That is not at all how a Belgian IPA is.
Don't comment on the. Don't critique the
No.
content of the live stream.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Steps through chick bike. Is that the way I worded it? I'm sure I didn't.
Oh yeah, that's nasty.
Are bikes with fenders only for whiskey drinkers?
Are bikes with fenders only for whiskey drinkers? I don't have fenders on any of my bikes, and I'm a whiskey drinker.
We were talking about this last night. I really do think if I ever spend money on a bike, well, I love those wild bikes, but the Founder of All City, if you've ever looked at those,
Yeah.
beautiful. But like the clearance is great, but they still look like a classic bike and all that stuff. But it doesn't have to be that. Even like the polyvalent, I'm like, the thing I want is a little more clearance so I could fender the bike. Have slightly wider tires. I'm maxed out at 42s on the Rally. So I'm like, still like a classic looking bike that I could have fenders on and wider tires. Like, I think that would be like the thing I would spend money on.
Well,
So-
that's my idea for a custom bike I want to do eventually, maybe next year, we'll see. But there are just a bunch of steel frames out that I think lend themselves to like. I mean, if you look at my bike and like everything is black, right? All the I want to do a bike all silver, everything. Like the ethos is no black, classic looking. Do the like hammered metal, or like hammered aluminum. Yeah, you've got them. Yeah, those
Hondos,
fenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hondos. And Velo Orange makes some nice ones too. So when I first built up the Rally one, so Otis traded me for the frame fork.
Actually, yeah, your Rally's kind of what I'm talking. Yeah, like you've got all
Originally,
silver stuff.
I had 9-speed, and so we had changed even like the seat clamp, everything, the headset. So we had everything silver. And when the first year I did Road Apple Roubaix, because that's where Large Marge is from, Garrettsville. That's where Road Apple Roubaix starts.
I didn't know that.
Went out and did that, and like there were 3 people who rode up next to me. They're like, how'd you get disc brakes on that bike? Because they truly thought it was a vintage bike.
They thought you like welded.
Yeah,
like
because it just
flat
looked
mounts
had
onto the.
such the vintage aesthetic, and now I've like totally destroyed the look of the bike because it's so my bike that I just want it to be so functional. So
Yeah.
Hugh sold me his 11-speed
The 105
Shimano
stuff.
group
Yeah,
set,
yeah.
And that was the first thing where I'm like, now
Yeah,
with
that
black
105
leather.
will kill any retro look you've got going.
But I was still able to at least get the 105. Still had the it's not chromed, but it's still the silver looking.
The
chain
silver,
ring.
you have the silver crank.
And that helps.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now I put on the black carbon fork and everything. So now it's like, I've totally destroyed the aesthetic.
Well, you have the silver, the Velocity.
Yeah, those
yeah.
the wheels. Yeah,
Yeah.
which are, I just replaced.
Yeah,
those
I think my setup would be probably those rims, White Industry hubs, White Industry headset, White Industry crank. So all the stuff that's you can picture what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Didn't Funny Brad just put White Industry cranks on his?
On his Space
also?
Horse, he does have. Yeah.
Everyone says, well, everyone. By everyone, I mean Otis. But he's pretty much the authority on.
Yeah.
He's been following Jan Hein and all this stuff since the beginning. But he said the Raleigh is like the spiritual like predecessor to like the gravel bikes that are out now. And he said the Space Horse is. He was like, your Raleigh is what the Space Horse is. It's like.
Yeah. Well, what year is your
geometry.
rally?
2014.
Yeah, that's like the time when they And I wanted like.
The Warbird was the other. So if you're going to say the first gravel bike, and everyone gets mad about this because they're like, whoa, back in the 20s, everybody, but like calling something a gravel bike, like Outbound, what was 30 Kanza,
yeah.
to not ride it on a cross bike is what the Raleigh was built for.
It's Unbound. You called it Outbound.
Outbound? Yeah.
It's like email or something.
But so the Raleigh
Yeah.
was built specifically for that. They're like, let's make a bike more stable than a cross bike with slightly wider clearance, and that's what the Raleigh is. And like that's what the Warbird was as well. It was only titanium at the time.
Isn't
the
that
Warbird.
so? To go back to GCN, they did that like investigating the origin of the gravel bike video a while back.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they
did
decided?
it?
The Salsa
Oh,
Warbird was like
yeah. Everyone says that's the prototypical,
yeah.
And I think it's the same thing. Like we all say we all invented the gravel bike because we all arrived.
I think the DiamondBack Override was the first gravel bike.
and that's the joke I make about my truck now with the surly corner bars and everything. I'm like, oh, it's a perfect gravel
Oh yeah,
bike.
that thing looks aggressive.
That's why I got the new stem to pull those bars up. But Pudgy gave me those vintage spin wheels, which are tri-spoke
Those are
carbon.
awesome. Yeah.
So cool looking.
I don't know anything about that style of wheel, but I remember early on in my getting into cycling phase reading something that suggested that multiple racers had accidentally beheaded rabbits on those.
By the
Is that real?
Synergies. There were like Synergies.
That's horrifying.
And they kind of went out of style for that.
Oh, you're right. That's the classic one. Yeah, it's the four. Yeah.
So that's why he gave those to me, because I was talking about how they were kind of like my Synergies were my dream wheel set.
Did anybody ever make two spoke?
There are Mavic still makes a 2-spoke for track bikes. Let's see if we could. Yeah, so these are the ones that like.
Yeah.
And those are bladed too, so they're not connected. There's a space between.
It's like a squirrel guillotine.
Yeah. What are these people talking about? Strep-2s are great for long torsoed people.
Do beers count as swag? Absolutely, they do.
I think JRR Tolkien isn't there only supposed to be one R in JR Tolkien?
Supposed to be, or I think it is JRR.
Oh, is it?
Whether there should be fewer R's.
That's
Sound off in the comments if you think there should be fewer R's.
yeah, and smash that like button. Rode a bike with fenders and probably drank whiskey at least once. Well, there you go.
I will say, like, I don't mind the skunk stripe up the back, but the keeping your like feet dry with the front fender does seem like a big like, I can't tell you how many rides I've done where that's been the thing that like killed me on a long like wet.
The other thing with full fenders is, yeah, like you're saying, but if it stops raining and you go out and ride wet roads, fenders keep you dry. Like full fender bike, like it's the road spray. And Otis, like our buddy Andy put full fenders on a bike, and we went out in the rain once, and I was riding that Schwinn. And it didn't and I have a clip-on fender I move between every bike, and I'm like, well, that keeps me from getting like wet
I've
on
used
my
those,
butt.
yeah.
Like what they call GCN ass savers, as the British would say. Those are great, like just keeping your butt dry. But like the feet thing, a full front fender,
Absolutely,
Jan Hein always talks about this too, but he was like, you aren't getting as wet from above as you believe. Like, and if you throw on like any decent
Well, and that stuff's
rain,
clean. Like it's the
Yeah.
it's the nasty stuff you're kicking up from.
and it's also keeping your drivetrain and everything you care about clean. So, Rusty hates me for not knowing Tolkien. I've talked about this before, but so my first girlfriend, we went and saw, what was the first ones they did in the theaters?
Lord of the Rings,
Yeah, what was
Fellowship
the first one called?
of the Ring.
The first one wasn't called Fellowship, was it?
Tell him it was called Fellowship. Somebody,
I believe you. Yeah, you're probably right then. If you know and you're adamant, you're right, because I don't remember. But we went to see the first one.
Yeah.
And it was like all that, they shot in 60 frames a second, and it was all that horrible CGI. And we watched it, and she wanted to go. Like I hadn't read Tolkien, so I actually
Clearly.
Yeah, when it comes to reading the books, like I have no opinion on the books because I haven't read them. But we saw that movie, and it was like just a fucking piece of shit movie. It's a fucking horrible movie. And then people behind us like stood up and clapped.
The Dropbox of movies.
Yeah, a Dropbox of movies. Yeah, and so we like turned around and like started like we're like, did you watch the same movie we did? Because this was a pile of shit. Like, because the whole movie is like, and again, I didn't have the knowledge of the novels behind me. Like, it's like all about getting to a place, and then the movie ends with them on a mountain, and they're like, there's that place, like way
Well,
over
there's two more
fucking there.
movies. You got to watch those.
Yeah, I know, but Star Wars doesn't end like that. Like, they never, like, there's closure in every, like, Star Wars movie. They don't just, like, they're not just, like, they don't end, like, the first Star Wars doesn't end with, like, there's the Death Star,
How
credits.
does the first Star Wars end?
They blow up the Death Star. And
All right,
they get
yes,
awards for it.
that's pretty decisive, I guess.
Come on.
All right.
They're not like, there's the Death Star, credits roll.
The second R is for rowdy.
Oh, God. 60 frames a second of that CGI. Go back and watch it again, Rusty. It looks like it's like watching Scooby-Doo. It's horrible. I don't know why I said Scooby-Doo, but that's...
This is going off the rails.
Yeah, it usually does. The second arch rowdy. That's good. Yeah, so my whole point was I just thought it could have drawn to more of a, like, even if it was going to be continued, there could have been, like, a little bit of... I guess...
Well, aren't the Marvel movies like the new, like, there's like, instead of 3 of them, there's like 70 of the, like, you gotta watch, you're basically signing up to watch those for the rest of your life.
And they also retroactively change everything in that universe. Like, canon now could be like, oh, well, let's pretend there was actually a gay activist in 1963. And no problem with, like, yes, that's cool, but, like, can't we, like, find a way to make that fit into, like, what's going on now and not pretend like everyone has a backstory that, like, now is a refugee from the Ukraine and, like, sorry. It's
Origin stories are inherently fraught.
Yeah.
We're gonna get we're gonna get Tim canceled by
by
the end of the stream.
We're getting close.
Tim just lost his nerd status.
I'm only a nerd about cool shit. I told, when I was working at Soleil's, there was this younger dude who was a cousin of, whatever, one of the children married into a family, and, like, so, like, the kid who he was only 15 and shouldn't be driving tractors, we were teaching to drive tractors and all that kind of stuff, which would have gone on way back in the day anyway.
So when you were perpetrating child labor,
yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. He was talking about something, and I remember I was like, I can't remember what it was, but I looked at him, I'm like, if you're going to be a nerd, just make sure you're a nerd about something cool. And I remember, like, that coming out of my mouth and, like, being at home later at night. I'm like, that is the best piece of advice I've ever given anyone.
I thought you were going to say you were at home later and you were like, what an asshole I was.
No. Like, I stand by that till this day. I think, like, that's what you should, like, tell young people. It's like, if you're going to be a nerd about something cool.
If you're going to be a nerd about 1970s Peugeot.
Yeah. I have a wall of vintage bikes. Like, that's fucking cool. Like, yeah, I'm a nerd, and someone could call me a nerd, and someone could, like, disrespectfully call me a nerd. But I know in my heart I'm right.
And they have in the chat. Well, that disrespectfully, calling you a nerd.
So I didn't lose my nerd status. I just lost my nerd status about stupid stuff that you guys are nerds about, that I disrespectfully call you nerds about.
Jay Dandy said Velma is the hot one. That is true.
It's Thelma, isn't it?
Thelma?
It's TH.
Who's Thelma?
Thelma.
You're thinking of Thelma and Louise. That's different.
It's
talking about
Velma and Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo, yeah. It's
No, Daphne is the hot one. Oh, they're saying the nerd. Yeah, Daphne is like the...
Read the comments and then tell me Daphne's the hot one.
Daphne's
wait.
Daphne's the 10. Yeah.
Velma got me through puberty. Jesus. All right.
Velma, no, Daphne.
Back off.
Daphne. You guys are wrong. Velma is the...
We're going to Google for...
Yeah. We lost focus. Velma is the
No, I like that the focus is on the boom arm the whole time.
Yeah, if that's... Yeah. Maybe Rode will sponsor these. they're soft to the touch.
That's where you got to put the missing falls.
They're also soft to the touch. I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
They can hear you rubbing. That's transferring.
So, Velma is the short, nerdy, chubby one, and Daphne is the drop-dead banger. Right? Is that what the kids say?
I'm not co-signing any of this. You gotta convince me.
No, Velma.
I'm Team Velma here.
Velma's the nerd. I hit the wrong. Whoa! Did I just take us offline?
No, there we are.
What is this?
This is your thing. I don't know. You tell me.
Why are you doing this to me, Tony? All right.
If you're Team Velma, sound off in the comments. Well, they already have, I guess.
Yeah, this is pretty much. Velma is a chunker.
Yeah. So what's the problem? I'm on board here.
There we go. Oh wait, we don't have it on the screen. There we go.
All right. So your audience is just has a more sophisticated taste than you do. Is what
Velma
you're
has it going on under that sweater.
Exactly.
Really?
Why people are paying to hear you talk about this, right?
Yeah. I mean, Daphne.
All right. Let's rank them. I'm going Velma 1, Shaggy 2, Daphne 3, Scooby 4, Fred 5. Fuck off with Fred.
You don't think Daphne is?
No. Not my thing. I'm glad we're doing this. How many people are watching this stream?
Come on, like Daphne is. There's a reason.
Pudgy knows. He knows.
I always assumed if I had a child, I would name them Daphne.
Well, that's a whole other thing. I can't comment on that.
Oh wait, that does sound kind of weird now. Yeah. Now I'm not as into that idea. These are like fan art. Like, what is this?
Well, yeah, you do not keep clicking. If you keep clicking through, you're gonna regret it.
Be demonetized real quick. Like, why was that a thing? Yeah. These are
Large said. I always thought the dog was the hot one.
Yeah, he does like a bitch. Oh no, we're in trouble now.
It's not even 11.
Will you look at the time? I thought you were going to be like, would you look at the time? It's just that face.
Velma, she rides with fenders. Hell yeah, she does.
You know she rides with fenders.
All right, this is
Daphne's riding a Chinelli.
Which, yeah. Respect, but you can't ride that shit in Akron.
Yeah.
The roads are too bumpy.
Yeah.
This is nasty. Come on.
Shorty be thick. What does Team Arwen mean?
Please explain.
All right. Let's do one more break. I got to take a leak.
One more break. Okay.
Tim would bang the creepy old man who owned the haunted theme park. Now I regret reading that out loud. Instantly. Instant regret. All right, see you, Rusty. It's trying to read what else. So Jay Dandy said Daphne is too obvious. Mark me down for the obvious one. See if we got any other. Is this what Rick's eating right now?
Where are you?
Send a couple of those over here. Rick does food photography, so that's probably his latest gig. But then he gets to eat it because they make it up.
I don't know. I've always seen videos that it's like, oh, when you see a nice looking picture of a salad, they really covered it in motor oil to make it.
Yeah, I
good
know.
enough.
Yeah. I don't think Rick cares that much. he's like I don't know, fit. He's like 1 foot in the grave.
Jeez. It's after 11, so this gets really dark after.
That's a good joke because he spends the whole night ripping on me. So, right, I can get one good dig in. Yeah, he actually like kindly offered me to be able to crash at his house because I'm going to be out in Philly in a few weeks, and so now I'm
For biking or for working?
my buddy from Boston, Youngstown guy, but he lives in Boston now, bought us tickets to see Bob Dylan out in Philly.
And you're going?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna drive and I'm gonna bring my bike and I'm gonna meet up with Rick on the Wednesday, and maybe traveling through if I've meant to DM him. So now this is just news to traveling through right now. But he's kind of out that way, so I'll hit you up with a DM traveling through and see if you're able to join us midweek. If not, no worries. But yeah, and I'm gonna tell my buddy Eric. I'm like, one day is gonna be a riding day for me. Like, this is where we'll end up. Like, you can meet us there, but like, there's no way I'm going.
Hopefully not the
somewhere.
day you're seeing Bob Dylan.
No, yeah, the day after. So, but you would cover Velma in motor oil. This is the kind.
No wonder you're you have Aaron is your only woman.
Yeah,
subscriber. And I don't even see her here anymore. I think she left.
Nah, she's been
I think
asleep.
she's ashamed.
She fell asleep an hour and a half ago. Yeah. What should we talk about now?
Do you ever get sick of talking about bikes on here? You got like the dark web on this thing?
The dark web.
I don't know. I'm out of ideas.
Oh yeah, so you are going to try and keep the ride going. So do you have thought about your plans for the December version of the meetup?
All the winter month Yeti on the loose rides will be played by ear. We'll see what. So I don't know. We have really good ideas for warm weather routes. We got to come up with some good ideas for cold weather routes. So off-road stuff works better, I think, in the winter, and we'll see. I actually have so this bike has slicks on it, but Otis gave me some winter tires from Michelin.
Are these the ones that he had on his Nishiki? Yeah.
I don't know. He did not sell me on them well because he had them in the shop apparently for quote years and nobody would buy them. And they have no studs. It's just really 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 deep tread, and then they have little like star like rubber studs on them. So if I eat shit the first time I ride them in the ice, then I'm not going to keep using them, but otherwise those might become my winter tires, so we'll see.
I think they would work in the snow, but I would not ride them on anything that might be icy.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think the steel studs are what you need for the ice. Like but snow, like towpath snowy, that'd probably be perfect.
Yeah. So we'll keep doing them. Somebody will come out, I'm sure.
Yeah, Patrick was saying for cold weather riding, you guys should come to Arizona, and they're right. And I always say like,
we'll schedule a group ride out there.
but like so when Rusty said that, I'm like, yeah, my budget is the limiting factor
Right,
on
not-
that.
yeah.
Not that my will. Like, I would rather be in Arizona.
Still be home by 5 that day. Yeah.
Yeah, if my
Right.
private jet, my YouTube jet would fly me out to Arizona for a group ride, I would be totally into it. Like, yeah. I don't think you guys realize that I'm like poor. I live in Akron.
Yeah, I mean he's only got like 9 bikes hanging up over
9
here.
bikes.
Yeah, this,
And only one of them is carbon.
if somebody could start a GoFundMe
Yeah.
before the stream ends.
Should we go fund me the meetup rides? Arizona meetup ride, go fund me. Pay us all to ride together in Arizona in the winter. Well, we've been thinking about our buddy. Do you know Mike Maris, who rides with us sometimes?
I don't know if I've ever met. I know of Mike. I don't know if I've ever met him, but yeah.
He's in LA, and that's one of the things we're talking about. Is like, should we try and plan a winter trip to go? Because that's perfect. Like LA weather in February is.
I did that one year. I travel for work. Well, before COVID, I traveled like really often for work, but I rented a road bike in LA and biked Mount Hollywood because we don't have real elevation out here, and then that's
Yeah.
like biking a mountain is kind of like it was awesome, but it was also very if you're from Akron, it's like the first couple switchbacks you do going up the mountain, like the first clearing I came to where you could see the city, like I stopped and I'm like taking pictures, and these people are like riding by me while I'm taking pictures, and I had like 9 more miles of like climbing to go. It's like way more amazing views, and I'm
Yeah, it
like
gets way
at
better.
the first stop, like, oh, look at this. But yeah, cycling out there is awesome if you can.
Yeah, and there's tons of gravel roads and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that long climb thing is interesting because when me and Ben were just riding Connecticut, it was the opposite. It didn't change. It was like it suited our riding style because I was describing it as saying like it's like going in and out of the Cuyahoga Valley over and over again. So like the climbs are all like the 300 feet, like nothing is crazy, but it never stops. Like you climb, then go
Right.
down, then climb, then go down. Where I've never been out somewhere where you have like those sustained climbs where it's like you are climbing from here all the way. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I picked Mount Hollywood specifically because there's a road that goes to the Griffith Observatory.
Yeah.
That is closed to traffic, and the first half a mile, you're like, oh my god, like I can't do this, like I'm gonna die, but then after doing it enough, you're like, okay, this is my job for the next couple hours. I'm just pedaling up this mountain, and it gets bearable. And I remember like being excited for the descent, like, oh man, I'm just gonna crush this, and it's like super scary. It's like the switchbacks are so tight that like you're scared to go too fast, like,
yeah.
so it was. I mean, it was cool, but it was not the, it was not the, miles upon miles of like 40-mile-an-hour descending you expect you're gonna have, but. And then also my phone died, and I had to go to the LA Zoo and ask them if I could charge my phone so I could finish my Strava route and like get a ride back when I was done. But
Yeah, we were talking about this last week. Traveling through, who's on here? He descended out of the Rockies. He had a 22-mile descent.
that's nice.
Can you even imagine?
Yeah.
But they were talking about this too. And again, a thing I wouldn't know about. They were talking about your arms get tired.
Oh yeah.
Because
that
you're
would make
not
sense,
pedaling,
yeah.
so that's what's supporting you the whole time. You don't think about when you're climbing, so if your legs are,
Yeah.
like the
You're just
faster
like
you go,
pushing.
the
You're
less
like
you're
in the
pushing.
drops, like
Yeah.
fingers on the brakes. Yeah, that does sound hard.
If you had to take Scooby-Doo to get to Velma, would you do it? I wouldn't.
They're having a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Like this stream isn't even
Yeah.
part of this
Yeah.
comment thread anymore.
If it was to get to Daphne, I would consider it.
All right. We know Tim is pro Daphne, anti Dropbox, anti one by.
yeah.
Like there's we're developing a profile here.
Yeah. The government's got me. I do like. I mean, yeah, I do want to go to Arizona. Like, I do want to like ride around. Like, not the way Albert did it, but he did the Fool's Loop. Which,
Oh God, yeah, that
Yeah.
stuff is
But they said there's like parallel like gravel roads that are a lot of fun to ride. Like, I'd love to do that, but
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I just don't know that. I'm a freelancer, so if I'm not working, I'm not getting paid.
Well, I see you see stuff like that all the time, like bikepacking.com or wherever, like stuff out in Oregon or in
Yeah.
wherever. That it's like, yeah, maybe someday.
Yeah, it's like I want to do that. That's aspirational.
I also like want to take my bike to do that. Like when I travel now for work, I always like end up I rent a bike wherever I go. I went
Yeah.
earlier this year. I was in San Francisco, and actually I went to this place that was like a sporting goods store, and all the bikes they had for rent, they were like hybrids with like big like baskets and bags. I was like, "Do you guys have any like gravel bikes?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I think we have something." And they pulled out like an Ibis Haka. It's like a super high end like carbon like light. It's like, okay, I'll like ride this around the Marin headlands in like San Francisco, and so that stuff happens. But it's like I still would like to have like my bike like out on that kind of stuff, and it's just hard to do that.
That's one of the big deals. Is I want my bike, and me and Aaron.
I don't want that $4,000 gravel bike. I want my 1992 DiamondBack.
When me and Aaron were in New York, we rented some bikes just to ride up like the Hudson River. There's a bike trail all the way up there into the Bronx. I had never been to the Bronx. I'm like, let's rent some bikes for one day in Lower Manhattan. We did it. So, funny thing is, I built up a Schwinn World Sport for her as her first bike, and so that had top tube, but
that's a cool first bike. Yeah.
And then she got her crust, and like so, we got these flat bar bikes, but I'm used to like my old mountain bike. I'm like, yeah, it's a hybrid, but like you could rip around on a hybrid too. You know what I mean? Like, she hated it. She was miserable. She's like, this bike is hurting me. These bars are stupid. Like, and it's something I had never thought about. Cause, like, flat bars is where like I started riding bikes.
Sure.
Hated it. She we were up in the Bronx. She's Googling. We're sitting there having a beer at a spot that I wanted to check out. She's like, "Can you take your bike on the subway?" She ended up like hopping on the subway, taking that thing back to the rental place, and then it was kind of a blessing in disguise because then like I rode through the Bronx and then through Midtown Manhattan like on like the hybrid, and I was like ripping it like as a bike messenger. You know what I mean? I'm like, got to do all this stuff. I'm watching the videos and not having to worry about Aaron type stuff. And I was like,
because she's on the subway alone, so you don't have to worry about her.
Yeah, having a blast. We ended up meeting up at Rafa.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And then went over to Chrome, and it was like the most two different vibes you could imagine. Like, we go into Rafa, and like there's some cool like historic stuff and some EF education stuff, which I like. But it's all very like kind of like uptight, you know?
Yeah.
And people are walking around in their clipless shoes, like clicking around like idiots. And then we walk over to like Chrome, which is like across the block and slightly down the street. And I walk in, and this guy's like, "Are you trying to buy something, or are you here for the event?" And I'm like, "Both." Like, and he's like, "Oh." And he reaches under like the counter and he hands me a beer.
Here's your shopping beer to walk around with. Yeah.
It was like, wow. Like, I like both these brands, but there's one place I'm 1,000 times more comfortable at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the only time I've ridden in a big city was San Fran, and it was like just I needed to ride through the city to get to where like I wanted to go across the Golden Gate and go over into the headlands, but like the city riding was amazing. It was like the infrastructure is so solid out there. Like you've got those crazy like middle of the intersection left turn lanes. Have you ever seen those? Or like
in Chicago is the first time I saw those. Yeah. But also just the fact that cars are used to your existence.
Right.
Like it's so different here in Cleveland, where like it's like, oh, if you are gonna slow me down, I will murder you. Like it's worth murdering you as a cyclist.
Well, you're right. And there was a moment where I was like bombing down this hill in a bike lane, which is already weird, and there's like a construction worker like stepped out in front of me, and like I yelled at it. I mean, I was comfortable enough yelling at him in a city I wasn't from, and he apologized. I was like, oh, that's weird. You're sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he didn't try and elbow you off your bike.
Right. He didn't shoot me in the head.
Rick asked if I know about the 5 boroughs ride in New York City, and I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and then Large asked, what did you play in the band? What instrument?
We're shifting gears so hard.
Two total. Yeah.
I played guitar. Drums are like really my main instrument, but I played guitar in the band I was in for years. We recorded one album. It's out. You can find it at any place you can find stuff. But
what's the name of it?
We're plugging my band from several years ago. The band was called Husbands and Wives. You can find us on Spotify. We released an album called Prepare to Meet Thy God. Like a kind of like heavy indie rock album. So that's out there. I'm still doing that stuff though. I'm recording an album right now of my own songs. I'm producing and
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to have it out early next year. But
so you're still like.
So I play like everything. I mean, I can kind of play piano, kind of play bass.
I couldn't play
barely
any-
sing.
I couldn't play anything, so when my band broke up, I don't play music anymore. Like, I'm still like a nerd about it, but I have like guitars. And
You played?
stuff.
Did you play?
I was a bass.
We talked about this. Yeah, you
Yeah.
played bass. Yeah.
But I wasn't the one writing the songs or doing any of that stuff, and I like did not continue on with it. I went into photography when we broke up.
I did not play the skin flute. Stop saying things that are not. You got to be able to ban people from the
Prepares
chat.
to meet Thigh God.
Oh my God, this is the horniest
Yeah, I know.
comment section I've seen some horny comments. Yeah, I'm not as good at songwriting as the guy that wrote the songs for the band I was in years ago. But
Rick said, "I thought you played laser tag."
that was the problem, Rick, was that I did play laser tag. That was my main.
The worst era of laser tag was that everyone memorized the little thing that you had to read up there, and when everyone would be like saying it all together, you're like, "This is a true like."
That was the ultimate like power grab of becoming a part-time assistant manager. Was you didn't have to read that anymore. That was somebody else's job.
They're like, "Listen, you've been through a lot already." Yeah, it's quite the. I don't know why me and you have spurred this sexual drive.
Yeah, this says more about these weirdos than it does about either of us, I think.
Bass is the one by of music world.
The devil's guitar.
Yeah, devil's guitar. Me and my guitar player.
Were you a better assistant laser tag manager or a better meat thigh god? You need to look inward for the answer to that question.
So the guy who became our guitar player songwriter we had been given a guitar, and so then we're like, well, we need a guitar, bass, and drums, and there were drums that were. Do you know Greg Milo? Have you met him before?
I don't think so.
One of Micah's buddies, and I grew up on the same street as him, but that's how I thought you might know him. Doesn't matter. He had a drum set from the 80s, like a tiny little Ringo Starr, like early, like 1963 looking drum set. So the one friend sat down with that, and then we had a guitar, and we'd have to like pass it back and forth. That didn't make sense. So Pete's mom would buy
It does not make sense. You're
No,
right.
yeah. Pete's mom would buy him what he wanted. My parents weren't going to buy me a musical instrument unless I was going to like sign up for classes.
Right.
But we wanted to be rock and rollers. So she bought him a bass, and so then we would be playing, and one day, like, that guy who would sit on drums, he was like, why don't you guys switch? And so, like, I took the bass, he took the guitar,
Yeah.
and, like, it was like, we never switched back. This guy, like, there was a day where we were listening to the band Stiff Little Fingers, the old Irish punk band, when we were skateboarding, and it was the first time this guy had heard him. Pete, Greg's younger brother. We get back, he puts the guitar on and plays it note for note, having heard it once.
Ooh, that's got to be your guitar
It's
player.
like, yeah, that's the guitar player. Yeah. Teach me the bass line.
And the other guy in that story was Tim.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. If I have, I think I can do this. If you talk about Velma again, you will be banned from the chat permanently. Your member privileges will be revoked. Jesus.
One with their meat thighs. Wow. Yeah. Did someone say meat thighs? I don't think I ever realized it was spelled Velma. Is that a name? Like, is there a lot of Velma?
Like, are there people named Velma? I can't. Sound off in the comments if you know somebody named Velma that's not from Scooby-Doo.
What happens if you just image search Velma?
Oh, my God.
We won't just throw it up there. Oh, my God. Is it go all Scooby-Doo?
Oh, boy.
All right, we're safe. Go wrong way.
Don't show these guys.
Oh,
this.
there are sexy Velma. Wow, you guys are...
I mean, immediately, it's like most of them are, yeah, you're giving them exactly what they want.
Yeah, I know. Long-haired Velma right here. What do you guys took along here, Velma?
This is not good. This is it's 11:20. This is why you need to end this.
That's why I
stuff at
usually end
11.
these at 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This exact reason.
Wow, I didn't know there was so much Velma fan art.
That's fan art's it's a generous way to put it.
Look at this Velma. Now we're Velmaing.
Now we're Velmaing. God. J. Dandy said maps? Question mark.
Oh, you want to know if any of these Velmas are local?
Oh my God. All right, guys, thanks for coming.
Yeah. All right, yeah, it's been fun. We'll see you on. See you next.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is our okay.
Fitzwater photo.
In the awful way, holiday today, and all I want to say, holiday today. You catch the first train home, drives to be alone, yeah, and all I want to do is to get with you. Hey, the awful way, holiday today, and all I want to say, holiday today. You catch the first train home, drives to be alone, yeah, and all I want to do is to get with you. Hey!
Thank you video. I need to make a new one this summary.
Yeah.